Hey there.
Hey, James, how have you been, man?
Hey, what's going on, dude?
Nothing much, nothing much. So how have you been since July?
Oh, good, man.
Oh wow, I do have to
Keeping
say,
busy.
yeah, I bet considering like all the stuff that's been keeping you from from podcasting, man.
That's what happens in the exciting world of advertising and parenthood. They get
Ah,
sick,
mm-hmm.
and then the client doesn't like your pitch, so you have to do it over.
Aw, I see.
Yeah, no worries though. What's going on?
Nothing much. Just been just been focusing mostly on work and school,
Yep,
and
yep.
just had my last semester two day on Wednesday, and yeah, finally things are starting to settle down, and I can finally enjoy the winter break.
Oh, congratulations. So are you graduating now?
Hopefully by the end of next semester, I'll be
Oh,
able
okay,
to.
gotcha.
Yeah, yeah. Right now,
So
I'm.
one more
Yeah,
semester. The light is at the end of the tunnel.
yeah, yeah. Hopefully. Now the hard part is we'll be getting a job, but hopefully I plan to search for an internship related to film journalism.
Sure, sure.
Yeah, yeah. Although if you have any connections, I'd appreciate that.
I don't know. I'll have to look. I'll have to dig through the friends list on Facebook. See if anybody see if anybody has film in their title.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, so you mentioned that you do a lot of work in primarily in advertisement.
Well, my main profession is I'm a graphic designer.
Uh,
So actually right now I'm working contract at a print company here. I was kind of brought in to help redesign. They're going to be launching a new website for
mm,
all these products that you can. It's basically like if you want to get like a polo shirt with your company's logo on it,
uh-huh.
you could go to this website and you could get it for like on the cheap and you can get it done really well and all this other stuff. But their website basically sucks. So I was kind of brought on to help kind of like redesign it and work with the creative director to kind of like rebrand the whole, which is actually this like kind of smaller subset of this bigger company.
Ah, I see, I see. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it sounds more important than it actually is, but
You
that's what I've been
ba
working on lately.
I guess in layman's term, you make things look nicer.
Yeah, yeah, I sexify stuff.
Yeah,
That's all
yeah.
I say. I had like a 2 hour meeting today just to talk about the content that was gonna go on the homepage. And
Mm,
finally they asked
mm.
me, what do you think? I'm like, I don't think anything. I'm just here to make shit look pretty.
Yeah. And like with pretty, do you mean like how often does like do stuff like logos and branding come into your line of work?
Actually, a lot of logo stuff lately has been creeping up. A lot of so a lot of friends of mine who are kind of like branching off and going freelance,
Hmm.
they're asking me to, it's mostly copywriters. They're asking me to help like redo their website as well. And I don't
Mm.
do any coding or anything like that. I just kind of like design it and lay it out in Photoshop and then I pass it off to somebody who's going to code it. Um, but I've been doing a lot of work lately for friends for logo work, which is kind of
Nice.
fun and it's a little less stress than doing like a logo for, a bigger company that's paying you a lot of money.
Right,
Less
right.
stress that way.
I see, I see.
Yeah.
Uh, what is some of the what was some of the stuff that you feel like you've been like the most proud of like recently?
Oh, let's see. Well, I worked on when I was working at an agency called Hill Holiday here in town. We were doing some pro bono work for, Project Red.
Project Red.
Yeah, it's like again, it's for like AIDS research in Africa.
Oh, okay, okay.
I worked on some billboards that ended up kind of taking over Times Square,
Oh,
like all the electronic
nice.
billboards. So that was actually pretty fun. It wasn't anything like too fancy, but just the fact that like, I got to lay out the ad space and then, for I forget how long the billboards ran for like I think a week straight. My work
Hmm.
was like in Times Square, so that was kind of like a big thing for me.
Oh, I bet it must have
Yeah.
been.
It's pretty cool.
Like you look at like a snapshot or some video of your own advertisement, your own
Yeah.
work right there. He's like, I made that.
Yeah, I made that. Oh, but man, I don't like the way that thing looks, when you see
Aw.
something like that you worked on that big,
Yeah,
you're like,
and yeah,
ooh.
you start to become like more like objective about your own work.
Yeah. You're like, well, I probably shouldn't have done. Do I have to put my name on that? No, it's too late. It was
Yeah.
like this past summer I did a cover for 2000 AD,
Yeah, I saw that cover. I
and
my
it was funny. Like I got all the positive reviews. I did get a few like nice reviews from the UK, but most of the positive reviews came from the US. But man, the people on the 2000 AD forums, they were brutal. They were brutal. They
Really?
tore that thing apart. It was
Oh,
funny. Yeah.
why?
Well, they didn't, if you look at it, primarily if you look at the history of like the 2000 AD covers, they have a kind of a particular style.
Hmm.
And I mean, I know that the purpose of this issue was to kind of showcase up-and-coming creators, writers, and artists.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why mine was like so radically different. Like if you look, there's I think maybe 4 or 5 weekly comics that come out
Mm-hmm.
from Rebellion Publishing, which does 2000 AD. And if you look at all their covers, they're all like, they might be like hand painted by like Jock, that illustrator, or they might be by like Simon Bissett. And then there's like my minimalist, Meet the Beatles kind of
Yeah.
poster cover. So
But
I don't know.
I don't know, I like it because like with your very simplistic art style or your simplistic approach, it kind of has that very like I don't know what's the best way to say it. It kind of looks like a very like slick propaganda style like simplistic propaganda style picture, something out of
Oh,
like
thank you.
I would
Yeah,
expect out of like Starship Troopers or something like
yeah, thank
enlist
you.
now.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah. What is it? Something. What is it? Guarantee citizenship? Service guarantee
Yeah,
citizenship?
yeah, yeah, yeah. But I just last month I finally watched Starship Trooper for the first time.
Oh my God, that's like classic.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a classic movie.
I was like, I've known about the movie for a while now, and my coworker is like, dude, you haven't seen it? You gotta see it, man. I was
Yeah,
like, it's Paul Verhoeven, RoboCop, Total Recall.
yeah.
And I ended up watching it. I was like, yes, I love this movie.
My favorite scene is at the very end where they've captured the brain bug.
Uh-huh.
And then you see in the background, you see like the scientists, they have this huge syringe and they're going to stick it what looks like it's the thing's mouth. They're about to stick it in the thing's mouth, which unfortunately looks like a giant asshole. And right before they
Yeah.
put it in, they put a big sensor bar over it.
Yeah.
Oh, I was killing myself laughing.
Oh my God. Yeah, yeah. There's so much to love about that movie. It's kind
Yeah.
of funny. It's like I can't remember why, but it's one of those movies like what was it? Was it like late 90s? Yeah, 97, right?
Yeah, 97. Yeah,
Yeah.
97 was an odd year for movies, right?
Yeah, it's the funny thing is that Starship Troopers and coincidentally another movie about aliens, Mars Attacks. Those
Yeah.
are two movies where I see like you got like the old vanguard of like the biggest Hollywood stars, and then you see some bunch of like up and coming stars that would later become known for much bigger things
Yep.
later down the road.
Yep.
Like
Except for poor what's that actress name? Johnny Rico.
oh yeah,
Yeah.
I was gonna say what's that woman's name? She was
Denise Richards.
Denise Richards. Yeah, you don't
Yeah,
see too
yeah.
much of her nowadays.
Yeah, no, I know.
It seemed like she was kind of like on her way to becoming like the next like Kim Basinger or something.
Yeah. Yeah, then I don't know what happened. The last movie I think I saw her in was oh, it's not called Beautiful Creatures, Dangerous Creatures or something. It had the girl from Bill Murray was in it, and he was like a lawyer in Florida, and it revolved around this like fake murder, and the whole big thing about the movie was that Denise Richards had this like semi-nude lesbian scene with Nev Campbell.
Mm-hmm.
That was the only
Wild Things.
Wild Things. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I know that because of that certain scene. It was like I think that wasn't that the movie that made her like big.
It could have been.
Yeah,
I
'cause
don't know. It's that either made her big or made her terrible. Or both.
Interesting thing. Are you aware of Red Letter Media?
I don't think so.
Oh, okay. They got a lot of attention after they did their really like long Star Wars prequel reviews.
Oh no, haven't heard of them.
Oh, okay, yeah. You're a big Star Wars fan, right?
Obvious, yeah, totally.
Oh yeah, yeah. Because I've seen like multiple posts like you like just freaking out as much as I am about over like the new trailer.
Oh, so did you hear that little ball droid BB-8?
Yeah,
Or
yeah.
88B? He wasn't CGI. That was a practical effect, I guess.
Oh, seriously?
Yeah.
How'd they even do that?
I don't know. I'm like, he was hauling ass. How did they get that? I literally just read that right now. I'm like, that's crazy.
I know. Oh, but that's a weird, funny thing. Like, I will get back to the I forgot what I was talking about. Oh yeah, the Red Letter Media. But I do want to say with that trailer, yeah, when I first saw that trailer, the first like two scenes with you see like John Boyega as the stormtrooper, and then you see BB-8.
Yep.
And I saw those. I was like, wait a minute. this doesn't look like George Lucas's Star Wars. This looks like a fan-made thing, only
Yeah.
because it looks all practical.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, yeah. It's like, whoa, 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 whoa. What's
Yeah.
this?
Yeah. Wait a second. That didn't look like his armor looked like he was really wearing it.
He
You
looks like
know.
he's actually sweating in the desert. What's going on
Yeah.
here?
What's going on here? He doesn't look like he's on a blue screen or anything. The only thing that kills me about that trailer is when the female character there rides off on that giant fudgesicle.
Oh my God, um on the last episode, recent episode of the Sons of Cervezal podcast, I brought up your comment on Facebook.
Oh, it's a fudgesicle, man.
Yeah.
Somebody just wrote, no. Was it you who did that? Somebody wrote, no, what did you do?
No,
Because I totally ruined it for them.
that wasn't me, but I was just laughing. I was like, "Oh, thank you. That made my day."
I guess somebody also made a painting they did a painting of that scene,
Uh-huh.
and she was actually riding off on a fudgesicle. That somebody had taken a big bite of. It's pretty awesome.
That's wonderful.
Oh.
Okay, so then I guess with Red Letter Media, they got a lot of attention for their Star Wars. Well, they first got a lot of attention for doing their long, like almost like I would say like maybe 40, 50-minute long review of Star Wars, of the Phantom Menace.
Mm-hmm.
And they created the character rather than reviewing the movie as themselves. They created this character named Mr. Plinkett, and this Mr. Plinkett is kind of like this very disturbed individual, most likely a murderer, and like just right off the bat, he's like, "Star Wars: The Phantom Menace was the worst thing since my son. Unlike my son who committed suicide in a bathroom, these movies won't go away. Don't worry, I'm here to help."
Oh, terrible.
It's like this very like dark humor sort of thing going on with their reviews, and thanks to like to their writing, it's kind of like almost like their reviews are less like reviews and more like filmmaking 101 and how the prequels fail at every single level of filmmaking.
Oh God, yeah.
Yeah, I highly recommend you check them out. But
I'll have to check that out. I still think Revenge of the Sith is the strongest out of the prequel trilogy.
Yeah, definitely.
You know, I mean, it wasn't perfect, but I mean, granted, like the one scene where there's Anakin and Padme. Padme's just like brushing her hair on the balcony. She has this like crazy look in her eye. I keep expecting that scene to like there's a cut scene of her just combing all the hair out of her head, going, "But you think I'm so pretty, Anakin? You think I'm so pretty?"
Or you're expecting it to turn into like one of those like hair shampoo commercials. I'm your Venus, I'm your fire, your desire.
Oh my God! Speaking of Venus, that little shaver, the worst commercial, or should I say the best commercial ever, was. Oh, let's see if I can find it for you.
Okay.
It was for like Venus or Chic.
For shaving for women.
Shaving, like bikini areas for women.
Oh, okay.
Hey, let's see if I can find it.
All right. I don't think I've seen any commercials related to that sort of thing.
Oh,
so
yeah,
this ought to be good.
This one was pretty like, I'm like, I can't believe they got away with it because and on American TV too.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see.
Oh wait, I think I may have seen this. Yeah.
And they walk by and all the shrubs are like, just
yeah.
Terrible.
Shuwatch style. 4 blades and a waterproof bikini trimmer. Now it's
Brilliant
easy to shave,
yet twisted.
transform with just the flip of a handle. Whatever your
Twisted
style.
and
New
evil.
Shuwatch for women trim style. Free your skin.
Well, it's not like they can really advertise it any way else, I guess. I mean,
Yeah.
I guess it's kind of like
Yeah, it's like they're not going to show people wiping their asses in toilet paper commercials.
or just
Right.
showing how what do you call those maxi pads are supposed to work.
Interesting. Did you hear that? I don't know if you ever read IO9 at all,
I do, yeah.
but they had a good article on there. Scientists have mapped out a mind-blowing tree of avian evolution. Apparently, after whatever meteor struck that bumped off the dinosaurs, basically only 4 bird species remained. So all the birds that are alive today descended from those 4 dinosaurs or whatever.
Uh-huh. Huh.
So
I
So
see.
chickens have descended from T-Rex.
Wait, survived from like those four species of bird or
Yeah.
four species of dinosaurs?
Hang on.
I thought there were like birds that were like pseudo raptor birds at this like Archaeopteryx at the same time as dinosaurs.
Let me see. Scientists have began the test. 4 species of bird. It doesn't say anything about dinosaurs. I just like
Okay.
saying that a chicken is evolved from a T-Rex
Right, that's the joke
because
that a lot of people make.
it sounds kind of tasty.
I can finally enjoy that Brontosaurus burger that Fred Flintstone always ate. It reminds me of this one. Go ahead.
Oh no, go ahead.
I just remember this one image where it was like, I forgot it was that short-lived meme that was like, blank, what are you doing? Blank, stop. And it would show like a T-Rex, and then you see it slowly turning into a chicken. Evolution, what are you doing? Evolution, stop.
Oh, for a second there when you said stop, it sounded like you auto-tuned yourself.
Oh, well, it was spelled like STAHP. Stop. Right now, Adam, he said he is online, but he says he's fiddling around with a new microphone, I think.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Oh yeah. The whole reason why I brought up Red Letter Media in the first place is because on YouTube they have a ongoing series called Best of the Worst, where they sit down and watch 3 random horrible low budget movies, and then at the end they discuss them and find out which one of these movies is technically the best of the worst. And one of them had Denise Richards in it,
Oh,
and it was called Tammy and the T-Rex.
Tammy. Oh God, I gotta look this up now.
With Denise Richards and Paul Walker,
Oh,
where this is like the weirdest premise for a movie I've ever heard of. Where
dude, oh my God, I love the poster for it.
okay, just wondering, what do you think this movie's about just by looking at that poster?
He's the coolest pet in town. So I would say Tammy and the T-Rex. She somehow befriends a prehistoric monster. Yeah, that's all I got.
Okay, so there's an evil scientist.
Oh my God, the trailer is friggin' amazing.
Apparently for some reason there's a mad scientist who creates a giant robot T-Rex, and he wants to put a human brain in that T-Rex. So there's Paul Walker plays a guy, I forgot what he did, but he gets into an accident, and so the evil scientist steals his brain in the hospital and places it in the body of the robot T-Rex.
Obviously.
Yeah, obviously. That's how else are you supposed to rule the world? And then the robot T-Rex gets free and then contacts Denise Richards, and they somehow still keep their relationship afloat.
Oh my God, the mad scientist kind of looks like Robert Downey Jr. a little bit. Oh, oh my God, this is awesome.
Surely this was the movie that Paul Walker really wanted to be known for before he died.
This is probably the most amazing thing I've seen in the past 60 minutes.
Like as you go to bed, like your wife is wondering, like, what were you doing up all night? I was like, Tammy and the T-Rex.
She's like, why can't you just be like a normal married guy and go watch porn in your basement? I can't. I have to watch dinosaur stuff.
You don't understand, honey. Dinosaurs.
Dinosaurs. I tried to explain to her that. I'm like, oh my God, there's going to be new Japanese Godzilla movies this week. And she was just like, you could hear the proverbial crickets chirping in the background.
She did like a long sigh, like,
like the groan.
I thought I didn't have to deal with this until 2018.
This is why I like it when you go away for those things.
I thought you were supposed to expel yourself of all your geekdom every July.
You're supposed to keep that in the basement. Oh, speaking of which, looking forward to G-Fest again this upcoming year.
Yeah. I'm just hoping get enough attention over there at G-Fest. But yeah, we're definitely going to be advertising the hell out of it.
I'm gonna sit in the back of the room and act all drunk and surly. So take off your top.
Have you been to space? I've been to space. Or no, you just turn into like
If the
drunk.
moon was made of ribs, would you eat it? I would.
Or you just turn into like drunken Orson Welles, like the fancy kind of drunk. Like, the French champagne.
French champagne. Oh my god, this is the best thing.
It's a California by Paul Masson, inspired by that same French excellence. It's vintage dated.
Look at this fucking label. Did you ever see the outtakes from that?
Yeah,
Oh
that's
my
where I
God.
saw it. Like, is he supposed to do anything?
I think he's wasted.
Well, obviously, yeah. Did you saw a skit online? I'm not sure if you follow Shuwatch, but we did cover this one. Adam and I we watched this video where it was a skit that was parodying those drunk outtakes.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see, I'm gonna look for that. Here we go. Yeah, it's called more drunk Orson Welles outtakes. I'll send you the link right now. My favorite part was where it's like the actor in the skit who's playing Orson Welles. He's like, he's talking to like a crab, like a crab on a platter. He's like, we've both been boiled alive, my friend. I by the studio system, and you by the cook Raffiosa. He starts eating the crab. Tasty indeed. Cut Orson, there is a California cut. In one part he's like, we know a remote farm in Lincolnshire, there where Mrs. Buckley lives. Every July peas are grown there. Cut! Wrong commercial, Orson! You watching it now?
I'm watching it now. But I think I liked your voiceover better than his.
It's, what is it like? Leave my food alone.
Ooh, a large dark coronal hole at the bottom of the sun appeared during the week of November 30th.
Sounds a lot more epic and more significant than it probably is.
Coronal hole. Sounds
Coronal
awful.
hole.
Cornhole. I bet a lot of people are going to be making that joke.
This looks like a job for corn guy.
So, big news on the Toho front this week.
Yeah, with the new announcement of a Japanese Godzilla in 2 years. I was really surprised by that. Like, interestingly enough, like I listened to a lot of people, and everyone's like super excited for it because new Godzilla, and for some reason I didn't felt 100% excited. Just a little bit like, I guess like cautious. I'm like, why would they do this? It's like,
Yeah.
like a part of me is like, is there a reason why? Is it like, did they not like the Legendary pictures, or like were they not uncomfortable, but were they like not confident enough that that's the only Godzilla film series that can keep the franchise stable?
I don't know. Part of me thinks it might just come down to a little bit of like pride. Like they think that they can make the better Godzilla movie. I mean, granted, in the end, we all get Godzilla, so it's all a good thing,
Yeah.
But I feel like it's, if you think about it, like after the 1998 Godzilla movie came out, like a year later, they said, okay, we're going to do our own movie.
Mm-hmm.
So I wonder if it's more of the same, like they're figuring out the Americans kind of, it was good, but it's not quite there, let's do our own thing and maybe, I don't know.
I thought like the original plan back in 1998 was to retire Godzilla until 2004, I believe, and let TriStar and Sony Pictures take over the reins.
Yes, that's what I thought too. Yep. But then I guess, the 98 Godzilla was received so poorly that that's when they decided they jump-started their schedule and came up with, Godzilla 2000.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So with
I could be wrong, but
another reason I had, like maybe because they're so used to just whenever they have Godzilla on a roll, they expect them to put out like a new Godzilla movie every year.
Yeah.
Which has been the case for like the 60s, 70s, 90s, and 2000s.
Yep.
And probably it's like, maybe like one Toho representative was like, "So, Legendary Pictures, you're going to make Godzilla 2 next year, right? We're gonna hold off there. We're gonna wait. We're gonna give it about like say 4 years. Oh, this is unacceptable.
Holy shit!
Holy shit! We cannot allow this to happen. We must have new Godzilla."
Gareth Edwards, you must commit seppuku.
Actually, he's not even here right now. He's over at Disney Studios working on Star Wars.
He's busy doing a Star Wars.
He's gonna put Godzilla in Star Wars? We must have new Godzilla!
That's terrible idea.
Terrible idea!
Terrible.
And that's why they made Godzilla. They're making Godzilla 16.
And I have a very bad feeling that that's exactly how the conversation at Toho went down.
Yes.
Two Americans doing borderline racist Japanese accents.
Like they had two Americans for no reason whatsoever. Like, Jerry, what are you doing?
I know. Really, guys.
You know what the guys are at the water cooler are calling you, Jerry? They're calling you a weeaboo. You know what that is? This is why nobody takes you seriously. I mean, look at yourself. You're representing Toho right now, a company all the way from Japan. You know why? Because nobody in America wants you to represent their country. Last week you were impersonating a Mexican, okay? And you know how much PR trouble that caused us? God damn it, Jerry.
Good times, good times.
Good times.
Oh, hey, Stephen Colbert is interviewing Smaug.
Oh, yeah, I saw a clip of that this morning, and it was it was genius. And,
you know what I'm a little not sure of is the Suicide Squad.
Yeah, it's like, that's a rather interesting casting. Like, I haven't seen anything. I've heard a lot of people praise Jared Leto when he was announced to do the Joker. I haven't personally seen anything that he was in.
Yeah, same here.
What really got my attention was Will Smith as Deadshot. I'm like, really? When was the last time we had like someone with like this big of a profile play a comic book character outside of like maybe say Samuel L. Jackson as Nick Fury?
Yeah.
You know, like, was Deadshot ever black?
You know, I don't know. I thought. Well, I watched the Arkham Asylum, and I thought I thought he was Hispanic in that.
Yeah, that too. Yeah.
So I don't know. I mean, I don't know. That's Will Smith. I actually wasn't too upset with the Will Smith casting because I actually really liked him in I Am Legend. Which I know everybody kind of poops on, but I actually thought I kind of dug it. I also like the little Batman Superman reference in it.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I've never seen anything aside from Tom Hardy, who's playing a character I've never heard of.
Yeah. Apparently, the character he's playing was part of like the original Suicide Squad, which was just a bunch of like, I guess, World War II era commandos, or like they're kind of like a team of G.I. Joe like characters.
Oh, right.
Yeah, like they happen to have like Jeff Zornow as a friend on Facebook.
Yep.
It was funny. He made that one post where he was basically just shitting all over the Suicide Squad. He's like, my Suicide Squad, the one I grew up with, is much better.
Yeah.
I mean, not to talk smack about Jeff Zornow or anything. It's kind of funny just how he just came in with this like raw negativity.
Yeah. Yeah. I know. Sometimes I remember at G-Fest I had him sign a book that he did, one of the Rules of Earth, and I walked up to his table and he was sitting there. He had his arms folded and he has his sunglasses on. At first I thought he was asleep. I thought he was asleep behind the table. I'm like, "You okay, man?" He's like, "Yeah, I just didn't sleep good last night."
You thought, he quotes,
"Do you mind signing my book for me?" It's like, "Yeah, who? Oh, Biggie. Oh, yeah, okay, bro." Gotta scrawl something on it.
Like, yeah, the giant robot guy, right? Yeah, whatever.
Yeah, whatever.
It's funny. He kind of also seemed to have like that I'm sure he has his I'm sure he has, he was busy or whatever. He had his reasons or whatever. But he did seem kind of had like that bit like dismissive, I guess, when my friends went and asked him for like an autograph or something, or like asked him questions about his decisions for how he produced his covers. He was like, yeah, whatever, yeah.
Yeah, I think. Well, I'm sure it didn't help that every night I saw him drinking in front of the hotel with who I don't know who he was with. I was like, there'd be a crowd of people. He'd be drinking this like weird Polish beer and a bottle of Jack Daniels.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why you're a little surly today, there, Mr. Zorno.
Oh boy. Now it kind of reminds me of this one video I saw where it's like, have you ever listened to Kevin Smith's podcasts?
No, not really.
Okay, because I recently got into it because of Bill, and we were listening to what was it? One of his podcasts called Hollywood Babylon. And
I've heard of them. I haven't heard them.
Yeah, his friend that he does Babylon with is Ralph Garman, who does a lot of like celebrity impressions, and one of the ones he does is Al Pacino, and a friend, I think it was them or a fan, I think it was them that made a remix of Ralph Garman as Al Pacino, and I'm just gonna send you a link to it right now. And when you were talking about like him drinking, it reminded me of this. And now I'm afraid, like, in 2 years when Bill is old enough to drink, he's just going to be, drinking himself, like, to the point of death, and he's just going to be saying, like, come on now, more margaritas!
Well, maybe we'll catch him squatting in the alley out front of G-Fest with Jeff Shornow.
Just vomiting aloud.
Just vomiting.
Like, did you ever listen to any of our road trip
Yes.
to G-Fest?
Yes.
So you know the story where we were just playing the Diabetes remix and he had to pull over to the road and vomit. I remember he was like, guys, you gotta stop, I'm about to throw up. And so I played it again. I was losing my ice cream, I was losing my apple pie, I was scared, wasn't afraid to die, I was scared. And then just like, it's like while he was throwing up, Dylan and I were just pointing at him and laughing and laughing and laughing.
It's always funny when one of your friends throws up or shits their pants. It's never funny when it happens to you, but it's always funny when it happens to somebody else.
Yeah. And luckily enough, it happens to whatever. Most of these things happen to Bill, so he gets the majority of the laughs.
I'll never forget. I don't know. Jesus, probably like 14 years ago. My friend Seth and a couple of other friends of mine, we went to London, and we were there for St. Patrick's Day. And I remember St. Patrick's Day, like, first off, my friend Crowley and I, we went off to Canterbury and we visited Canterbury Cathedral and everything. We accidentally ended up breaking into Canterbury Cathedral, not intentionally. We didn't realize that you had to pay to go in, so we just kind of walked in through the gift shop.
Yeah.
And then as we're leaving, they're like, I mean, what could they do? Like the person who was taking the tickets is like, hey, that was supposed to be like £10. I'm like, we were supposed to pay? But anyways,
I'm sorry, we're Americans.
we're Americans.
Rules don't apply to us.
Okay, sir. You can go right ahead. Remember that night, my friend Seth, he got so drunk. He puked in the sink in the hotel.
Yeah.
Right? And I'm like, really? The toilet is like right there. And we're telling him, like, you throw up in the toilet and it goes away, this thing. So my friend Mike was the first one to get up, and he found that horror sitting in the sink. And
the psycho thing was playing.
He's like, I was so dehydrated, like my left eye was like glued shut. When you just wake up after you've been drinking a lot. And he turns on the water in the sink to try to go down the drain. It starts rising, and it's kind of overflowed a little bit. So he's like, he did what any other red-blooded American would do in that situation. He just turned off the faucet and went back to bed.
Yeah.
So the next morning we got up, and it looked like little hash, those little hash brown patties.
Oh.
It looked like that kind of plastered all over them.
Oh, wow.
Good times.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
I can. Well, luckily, Bill did not throw up again in the restroom. We kept that in clean for the most part. Yeah, the only part that ever got covered in vomit was that one spot, random spot in the middle of Pennsylvania on the road.
It's Pennsylvania,
Yeah, nobody cares about Pennsylvania.
The whole state's covered in puke. I mean,
Oh, yeah. Like you said, good times.
good times. Hey, Jesus, we should have just recorded a podcast of you and I just shooting the shit for the past 40 minutes.
Yeah. Well, what's interesting is that like this what do you call it? This MP3 recorder of mine, it just automatically turns on whenever I get into a Skype call with anyone.
Oh,
And
good.
so luckily I am well, I'm not me, but the computer has been recording this conversation the whole time.
You're supposed to give me a warning.
Sorry, man.
By the way, this is going to be up on YouTube right now.
Yeah. The funny thing is, this is the exact same thing that happened when I first talked to Jacob Baker on the episode that he was on Shuwatch for, where it's like we're both of us just so happen to be waiting for Adam, just like right now, and we were like, and he was like, dude, we should have just turned this into a podcast episode, and it was like, well, I'm recording right now.
So, funny thing you say that, because it is. Hooray!
Yay! You know that embarrassing stuff you just told about those secret things, those times when you badmouth all of your employees, coworkers and stuff? It's been recorded now. It's gonna be leaked on the internet. You're gonna lose your job.
The North Koreans are leaking this onto the internet.
You know that all that talk we were talking about, how we were jokingly talking about how we're jokingly conspiring to kill Kim Jong-un? They picked it up.
Oh, shit.
And
That's like really bad. Now we're on the death list.
And now they're going to start World War III with whatever pathetic little nukes they supposedly have.
That's okay. I'm on the East Coast.
Yeah, right.
Good luck lobbing one of those past North Dakota.
Oh boy! But imagine like they can't even get their nukes past Hawaii.
Yeah.
Ends up landing in Japan and create real Godzilla.
Oh, Japan. Oh.
Like, oh, not again.
Oh, terrible.
Terrible yet funny.
Terrible human beings.
But not as they're not as terrible of human beings as spiders and cantaloupes.
This is true. Fucking, oh God. Fucking hates. Ugh.
You're not a fan of cantaloupes at all, huh?
Not a fan. They are the lowest of the fruit. A cantaloupe is the lowest of the fruit.
They deserve to be exterminated in concentration camps.
You didn't happen to see Mr. Peabody and Sherman, did you?
Unfortunately, I did not. That was one of the
Well,
movies
maybe fortunately you did not. That was the funniest thing out of that whole movie, and I still quote it. Like Mr. Peabody, he was about to have his head chopped off by during the reign of terror in France, and he switches it with a cantaloupe, and the guy who picks up the cantaloupe, he's like, a cantaloupe is the lowest of the fruit.
Oh. I can see why you enjoy that joke.
Still makes me laugh, even though it's terrible.
So I suppose the movie as a whole wasn't very good?
No.
Or I guess it was just like passable.
It was good. It wasn't horrible.
Mm-hmm.
My son and I liked it.
Okay.
Usually, like when that's the best thing about being a parent is because now I have like the excuse I can watch cartoons all the time.
Hey, that doesn't stop me, man.
Yeah. Good point. It didn't stop me before, but now it's like, hey, I got a kid. I can watch Batman Brave and the Bold for 6 hours straight. Which, by the way, like I watched some of Batman Brave and the Bold when it was originally, but I didn't watch enough of it to like really kind of like appreciate like what a really excellent show it is until like we start watching, because they have all 3 seasons on Netflix. So Connor and I, that's like our jam, man. We'll binge watch that for like 3 hours straight.
Yeah, I think I followed that show maybe for its first season, like up to where they introduced the Joker for the first time. And I guess there's a large period where I stopped watching it, and then it wasn't until after the show ended I hear about all these good things about it, and I've watched clips here and there, and the one that really got me the most was when he was I guess face to face with the guy who killed his parents. I'm like, whoa, this is different from what I saw from season 1.
Yeah, that was we liked the ones with Batmite, because it's Paul Rubens doing Batmite.
Yeah, I did see that one. I did love the one episode where he was like he recreated that crossover with Scooby-Doo.
Yeah. Yeah, and they did the Batman segment too. Oh, so good.
And then he even
secret yoga method.
And then I even saw I luckily came across the airing of the series finale with Batmite one more time.
Yes. Yep. That was a good one too.
And that was a very heartwarming ending with like Batman just saying like, "Hey, well, listen, whenever no matter what incarnation that I am, I'm always going to be there for you guys." I was like, "Oh, that almost made me cry."
Well, I'm getting choked up. Son of a bitch!
Damn you, Batmite! I did love how he kind of had like a parody of Comic-Con in his first appearance.
Oh yeah.
And they were just basically saying, just being like bringing up like the common criticism of this is not the serious Batman that I was expecting.
Yeah. He's like, I'm sorry, but I prefer my Batman to be the gritty urban crime detective. I'm sorry, but he's just not my Batman. That's great.
And then he even had like Bruce Timm and Paul Dini there.
Yeah.
And Bruce Timm was like, meh. He's like, I don't care. I've already made the definitive Batman. You do what you want.
You guys do whatever you want. My legacy in history is assured.
He's like, hey man, I'm Bruce Timm. Drops the mic. That's all he needs to say is, I'm Bruce Timm.
Bruce Timm, bitch.
Say my name.
It's like from Coming to America, Sexual Chocolate. He just drops the mic and walks off the stage.
Oh.
Sexual Chocolate. They play so fine together, won't you agree?
Oh, boy.
Oh, that's still my favorite Eddie Murphy movie. Did you ever see Coming to America?
Yeah. He played the African prince, right?
Yes. Him and Arsenio Hall.
Yeah. You don't see Arsenio Hall at all. I mean, you figure like he would have been like just as big of a star as he and like Will Smith or something.
He got that TV show, which I used to watch too. But
real highly enjoyed that movie. I did see the one where he was with Dan Aykroyd. I forgot what that title was when they switched places.
Trading Places.
Okay.
Yeah, that was Eddie Murphy.
Okay, yeah. Oh, wait. Yeah.
Yeah, Eddie Murphy was in that one.
Yeah,
I can't think of too many Arsenio Hall movies. I think he was in The Meteor Man.
But yeah, like when you mentioned Eddie Murphy movies, I've seen those two, but I've yet to have seen Beverly Hills Cop. I really want to see that because I heard isn't that like another of Eddie Murphy's definitive movies?
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah. Really want to see it and really want to check that one out.
Oh wait, let's see. He was also in Harlem Nights. Amazon Women on the Moon. Oh my God, I forgot he was in that.
He was?
Yeah.
I've seen that one.
with
No,
I'm surprised
right?
you've seen that because every time I bring that movie up, nobody has seen it.
Yeah, they had the parody of like the son of the Invisible Man.
Yeah.
But I'm invisible.
Vaguely, I'm invisible.
And Stella. And with like Amazon Women on the Moon, you actually have like this like dude who looks like he's in his 40s, just pretending to be a young kid with a monkey sidekick.
Being invisible is the best.
Oh no, I wonder what's happening now. It's almost as if there's a ghost here. I remember my friend Dylan, he first showed that clip to me. Neither of us knew where it was from. We were like, wow, this looks great. Where is this from? And then one time I just saw this movie called Amazon Planet on the Moon, so I recorded it on DVR because it sounded like an interesting, judging by, I guess it's like, oh, it's a parody of some sort. Okay. And I was like, oh, that's where it came from. The Son of the Invisible Man bits. Oh, a question I've always had ever since I read Robot God Akamatsu.
Yes, sir.
I had two questions. One, so I know you have been labeled as the co-creator of RGA.
Yep.
And I wonder, like, does that mean you came up with the story, or like, did you came up with the idea and Mr. Washington came up with the art, or did you both talked about it and the robot came up, or like who there like? Sorry, well, I'm just saying, like, was there someone who had the original idea for a robot and then came to the other person?
Originally, Frankie and I both worked at the same ad agency in town, and he was sitting in the illustration pit, they called it. So I'd always go down there and talk to him, because at the time he was working on, Digitas had General Motors for one of their accounts, and we were doing this big website called Autobots Roll Out. Mm-hmm. So we got to see all of like the prelim Transformers art and CGI renders before like anybody had seen them. Uh-huh. In fact, I still have the little like style guidebook, because it came in, it looked like a Sector 7 like envelope and everything. Mm-hmm. So that's how Frankie and I started just kind of shooting the shit together. Because two big giant robot fans. So then we were talking about like.
Just like two big robot fans working on a official Transformers project.
Well, he was, not me at the time, unfortunately. Mm-hmm. So, we just would always talk. We're like, we should do a comic. And that's like what everybody who enjoys comics at some point says, you know what, damn it, we should do a comic. But this time we're like, no, we really should kind of put our money where our mouth is, because we say we love this stuff. We say that we can do it. Why don't we, try to go ahead and do it? Uh-huh. So originally his first idea was like, what if we did something like a Justice League, but the Justice League members were all like super robots, like Mazinger and stuff. Mm-hmm. So we kind of pitched that back and forth. That one kind of died. Then there was another story that actually wasn't going to be giant robot oriented. It's called a story called Giant Killer, which actually ended. We actually came back to. That was included in an anthology called Tarnish, where basically we had the purpose of the graphic novel was to take some public domain superheroes from the 40s and kind of reinvent them, make them dark and gritty and whatnot. Mm-hmm. So we used that storyline for that anthology. But originally, I remember I sent Frankie the name Robot God Akamatsu, because I had that name kind of kicking around for a long time. Mm-hmm. And kind of a like maybe one paragraph outline, mentioning Atlantis and stuff like that. Yeah. So really, just the name and maybe the Atlantis storyline came from me. Mm-hmm. But then once Frankie and I started building on that, then it really was, pretty collaborative. Particularly when I turned in the first script, which, man, writing the first comic book script of your life is probably the most daunting thing I've ever done. And like I kept going, like he's like, how many pages is it going to be? I'm like, I don't know, 22. Then he'd call me the next day. I'm like, I don't know, I'm at 46 pages. And the next day I'm like 33. He's like, why don't we try to keep it to this? So I would turn in a script to him, and he'd send me like thumbnails and whatnot. So I'd write the scripts in the story. Mm-hmm. And then when he would take my scripts and translate them to the page, he'd add in his own little story elements too. Ah. Okay. So, and also too, like, there are tons and tons of like super robot references in RGA, and I'm not sure if some of them are like so like, out there. I remember they don't get. Not a lot of people will pick up on them, but they're there. There's a lot of Shogun Warriors references. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of Gundam references. There is some, Brave series references. There's obviously Transformers references there too, but we also have references to stuff like, we have references to Goya's painting, Saturn devouring his sons. We got a reference to the Night Watch. We got references to, some of our favorite like jazz albums and stuff like that too. So we kind of put like, we kind of thought about RGA an awful lot, and we kind of want to take like all of our favorite things, like when we were growing up, transfer. He's a couple years older than me, so he was more into the Shogun Warriors, but I came along right when the Marvel Transformers series came out, and that was really my first comic book series I collected. So in terms of like knowing the stories inside and out, I was more familiar with the Marvel Transformers. I knew the Shogun Warriors mostly from the toys, not really from the comics, because that was kind of before I was into comics.
Yeah.
But we want to take, Transformers, Shogun Warriors, Godzilla, Kaiju, Gamera, everything, kind of like spin it together into our own, put our own little, add our own little flavor to it, and also have it here in Boston, because at the time we're like, shit, nothing ever comes to Boston, What was the last thing in Boston? Was R.I.P.D., right? Nobody remembers R.I.P.D.
I can totally relate to that, which is like when that moment where I saw like from the Lost World Jurassic Park, when you see the T-Rex just rampaging through San Diego, I'm like, yeah!
See, you got that. We get nothing except those zombie guys from R.I.P.D. And the only thing that could defeat them was cumin from Indian food. So that was kind of like our thing. We wanted to, and a lot of the stuff that's going to be happening in Volume 2 is obviously Boston got the shit kicked out of it at the very end.
For the second time, right?
For the second time, yeah.
Okay.
RGA kind of went bonkers. Akamatsu, the spirit of the robot, is gone. We don't know where he is. So it's just the pilots on their own piloting RGA, and they're kind of it's not the easiest thing to do.
Yeah.
For humans, because when these guys pilot it, they don't actually sit in a cockpit. They astral project and sort of possess their own like vehicles. Right. So there's the Earth Cat, which Adile possesses. So when she is the Earth Cat, when you see the Earth Cat driving around, it's like that is her body. So that's why we kind of figure, that's how we say that they're so good with piloting these machines, is because it's like an extension of themselves.
Yeah.
So when the three guys combine, when the three souls of the operators combine, that's when Akamatsu, who is the spirit of the robot, kind of awakens, and that's when all the real power and shit can happen.
Right.
But at the same time, though, originally early on, we were thinking that the robot itself is kind of like the One Ring from Lord of the Rings. Like the more you use it, the more it's going to kind of F with you.
Right. Because he kind of became a little sassy towards the military.
He got a little sassy, and in chapter 3, Jin gets a little sassy. He's like, what the fuck, I'm just doing my thing,
It's my giant robot body. I can do what I want.
Yeah,
You're not my real dad.
Yeah, you're not my real dad. Wait a second. I am your real dad. What the fuck? That's actually probably out of that whole graphic novel, I think that chapter is my favorite. Is chapter 3, is when you see them first combined for the first time, and you see Ken, and you see Jackie, and you see Dr. Washington, and they're realizing that the kids that were here, well, they're not really kids. One of the things we want to do too is we're kind of a little sick of the anime where it's like an overly busty 15-year-old piloting a giant robot. So we wanted to kind of have the kids be a little bit older. So all these guys, they're in their like early 20s or mid 20s.
Right.
So this is the scene where they kind of realize that we don't know what's happening to these guys. So kind of like the shit is like kind of hitting the fan. It's like, where are they? Is this who's controlling who here? And it kind of leads in. Well, that kind of sets up a lot of stuff that's going to be happening in Volume 2, where like the kids are. I keep calling them kids. They're not kids. They're adults. Where the pilots are, they're having a hard time controlling the RGA on their own.
Yeah.
Without Akamatsu. So since Jin is the main one, and he was technically poisoned the most. Even though he's not really poisoned, he's the one who's influenced the most because he was the main pilot. He's the one who's kind of taking over the role of Akamatsu for the robot itself. But also in this series too, we're kind of leaving a little bit of that aspect out of it, and we're trying to just have a couple of issues where it's just giant robot, giant monster fun.
Oh, I guess like trying to establish a bit of a status quo.
Yeah, so right now after the events of the very end of Volume 2, there are more kaiju attacking more frequently, but they're more natural. We call them naturally occurring kaiju. Like if you look at the kaiju in Volume 1, they're all like they're like cybernetic, they're chimeric, they have different parts of different animals and different robot parts. And a lot of that comes from Frankie, because the one of the villain Uru, he's always like recycling stuff. Like if he's say he was leading an army in a battle, at the end of the battle he would just kind of like pick up all of his dead soldiers and recycle them into something else. So that's why the kaiju all look, they're pieces of kaiju from thousands and thousands of years of battles.
Yeah.
But in this one, the kaiju are naturally occurring from Earth, so we'll see like there's a spider kaiju called Tyrantulus. Tyrantula.
I love it.
Tyrantula. Yeah. And then we have like a crab one, and this is actually going to be a prequel story, which we haven't really talked too much about because it's been a little slow going. There's a prequel story called Power of the Gods that I don't know if you know who Joshua Enrique is.
Joshua Enriquez. The name doesn't. I don't think so. Sorry.
Well, he's the letterer and editor on our book, but he also he's also a big Transformers fan and a comic writer in his own right. But we had him pen a prequel story that happens right before Atlantis, goes under. So we see some new kaiju there too.
Oh, nice.
But it takes place completely 100% in Atlantis, so no Boston connections at all. Because it's funny, a lot of people were saying, like, I love the Atlantis stuff, I'd like to see more of it, even though technically the Atlantis thing kind of ends with this,
the destruction,
with Volume 1. I mean, we could go back and see, leading up to it, but thematically in the next volume, where, our flashbacks are going to be a little bit different.
I was going to say, oh yeah, you mentioned how, like, in the story, when we see them, the reader sees the three combining for the first time. That's those characters combining for the first time?
Yes.
Okay.
That's like there's, not to get like all New Age, but it's like their souls kind of merging into one, and then Akamatsu is like using that as a power source.
Right. Because
there's something more nefarious happening there when he uses that as a power source. Without getting into like too much like further like far out detail stuff, but he's not, you don't quite know what his whole role is throughout the whole volume, and that's kind of how we were trying to play it without making it too like, hey, I'm this great guy, here's this giant robot, have fun, it's not, we didn't want to be like a drug dealer, hey, first taste free.
Yeah, I really enjoyed that. I like Akamatsu's actual personality. He's like this kind of like random rogue that like he's kind of unpredictable. You don't really know what he's gonna do. He's like, and it really gave the robot itself a personality, which I really liked. But the thing was, because of the dial, I guess this is just how I read it. But looking at the dialogue between the three pilots and Akamatsu, it seems like they were already familiar with each other. And I thought, it made me think that this wasn't their first time combining, and that this was just another routine practice.
Are we talking about at the beginning with the present day pilots or the past pilots? The Atlantean pilots.
The present day Boston pilots.
Yeah, no, that was their first time physically, combining. They had like done it in simulations before, and they were familiar with each other up until that point, so they've been practicing together. But that was the first time that they had, combined with Akamatsu. Right. So he kind of knew who they were a little bit, but this was like, what's the best way to describe it? It was like kind of having like a seance.
Like a first time actually like interacting one-to-one with them?
Yeah, one-to-one. Like, because once you combine like that, he knows everything about you, all your little dirty secrets, all the times you cheated on the math test in the 4th grade, all the times you snuck into the girls' bathroom in the 6th grade, everything.
Yeah.
So, and don't think, and like, even though we don't say it, like he's keeping tabs on all that shit.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I guess I just read it wrong, but
Oh yeah, no, it could have been how I wrote it too. Because keep in mind that was like this was also my first like graphic novel story. So there are, even when I go back and read it, there are still some things that I would like to correct. So maybe if we ever do an absolute edition of Akamatsu, maybe we'll get to go back and tweak some of the dialogue and story points. But
we can
try to retcon them later.
Like the James Biggie special edition of RGA. Yeah. You're going to have like this extra pointless scene with all of them at a bar, and you see random robots just screaming, singing into the camera.
Just randomly saying things that like clear up like decades of continuity mishaps.
Yeah. The other major question I had was, was this a plan to be a black and white comic from the start, or what? Oh, it was?
Yep.
Oh, okay. Because it seemed like with Frankie B. Washington's art style, I wasn't sure like if he was drawing it with the intention of making it black and white, or was he drawing it as if he was going to make it in color at some point in the future?
Well, so here's the thing. The first 6 pages he drew, assuming it was going to be colored, and unfortunately, the colorist that he was friends with that was doing the coloring for them, he wasn't quite happy with it, and then we decided let's just go with the manga approach and do like a straight up black and white, and try to make a thick volume, like the volumes of manga you get at like Barnes & Noble and whatnot.
Right.
So from like I think say like page maybe 12 on or so, we were in the mindset it was going to be a black and white comic.
Okay.
So that's when Frankie starts. After that, Frankie starts experimenting a bit more with like the halftone patterns and stuff like that too. So
I see. Let's see. Is here? Oh, it looks like Adam is finally online.
Oh well, I already told you everything I want to talk to you about. So
let's see. 'Cause I guess the thing was, maybe this was just me personally, but I guess when the kind of mangas or like the kind of black and white comics that I read, there tends to be like a very stark like not difference, but very like I guess because I'm mostly a noir guy, I like things that are mostly like black and white. I noticed that with RGA, there's like a lot varying shades of gray with this one.
Yep.
And maybe this is just me, but maybe like there were certain points where I got kind of confused as to what's going on in the panels. From like looking at trying to follow the fight from panel to panel, and I guess because of the different shades of gray and the robot's blocky nature, I guess there were certain points where it was hard for me to determine what was going on in certain panels, I guess. But I think that was just me.
Oh no, we've heard that before. A lot of Frankie B's influence was a lot of the early Herb Trimpe. Or it's either Herb Trimpe or Herb Trimp. I keep calling him Herb Trimpe. Herb Trimpe work on the Shogun Warriors, where the characters are they're like you said, they're very key, and the action is very hyper stylized. So in some panels it was more successful than others, but
Yeah, that was pretty much like the one major issue with it, but I guess it's really more nitpicking because overall I love the comic, and when I got to that end, I was like, no, where's the next one? I looked at when did that comic made? Because it was like made a couple years ago, right?
Came out June 2013, so last year.
Oh, last year. Okay. Because I was like, no, I don't want to wait that long. I want my volume 2 now.
I know, we tried so hard to get, we were really hoping to have volume 2 out this summer, but, life tends to get in the way on some things. But we're shooting right now I'm going to be at the London Comic-Con in March. But I'm hoping that we could have volume 2 by the next G-Fest. That would be fantastic.
Yeah. Some people call us fanatics. I consider ourselves enthusiasts. I am KaijuNoir, and this is Shuwatch!
Super dynamic.
Ultra Force!
Go!
Kind of an awkward start there. I completely forgot about that.
I'm sorry. I was expecting Biggie to go.
I know. I felt
like
I
wait
messed
a
up my
minute.
line.
I
And
forgot.
I was like, oh, wait a minute.
Wait a minute. Oh, just wondering. Have you watched Shuwatch before, Biggie?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
It's Shuwatch.
For a second there, I'm like, oh shit, was I supposed to say something?
I know, that's my fault. I'm sorry. But hello, people of the internet. Welcome to the second section of this particular episode of Shuwatch Super Dynamic Ultra Force Go. I am, of course, your host, Andres Perez, a.k.a. KaijuNoir. Here with me is my co-host, Adam Noyes from Adam Noyes.
Hello, insects of YouTube. Hopefully I'm still coming in okay.
You're coming in great. And
I'm coming in great here from San Diego.
And all the way from what was it, Boston, Massachusetts,
Yep.
the writer of Robot God Akamatsu, and the head honcho had a lot of I forgot. What was it? Graphics and marketing?
No.
I'm sorry, I'm messing this
What
up
the
real
hell?
bad.
What's going on? I'm so scared.
I'm gonna go Tom Cruise on you in a second.
I don't know,
Oh, no,
does this mean you're gonna be running away from me a lot?
That is. No, I'm gonna be jumping up and down on Oprah's couch, saying how much I love you. Awkward.
But yes, Biggie! We finally have Biggie on the show, folks.
Hooray!
Yes, funny enough. Oh, so yeah, that first section that you just heard, folks, was just Biggie and I just shooting the shit, and we just happened to have been recording while waiting for Adam here. And James Biggie here, someone dear friend of ours that we met, that Dylan, Bill, and I met at G-Fest. We've been trying to get him on the show for quite a while now. Just that the reason why it's been difficult is because, like, unlike the five of us, Biggie here has an actual life.
I don't know if I call it a life. It's just I call it a kid. I have a kid. That's why.
Right. Well, pretty much.
You're a father?
I'm a spawner. I have sown my genetic seed.
A nerd who has been able to pass off his genes to the next generation.
Oh my
Generation
God.
Geek 2.0.
But yeah, thank you very much, James. Do you prefer James or Biggie? Because I know on the podcast we have always referred to you as Biggie.
Oh, Biggie's fine. It's fine. Thank you for realizing that Biggie's my actual last name and not a nickname. Everybody, because whenever I introduce myself, everybody's like, "Oh, so what's your last name?" I'm like, "Oh,
Small. What's your last name? Smalls?
My name
It's
is Biggie. James Biggie.
That's just like Madonna." Biggie.
You're simply known as Biggie. Next thing you know, in a couple of years, you'll be known as the writer formerly known as Biggie.
Yeah, I'll just be a stupid symbol.
So from a designer's perspective, what do you think? Is that how you think Prince's logo?
His weird, like,
It looks
Scorpio.
like a P.
Yeah. Hey, well, wait a second. He's not known by that anymore, though, right? He's Prince again, isn't he?
I think so, unless he's now referring to himself as, like, the return of Prince.
The Return of Prince.
Prince 2.0, Prince 2000,
Holy fuck.
Prince 2014.
He should have stopped at Prince 1999.
Oh. But yes, so for the second section of Shuwatch, we decided to pay our respect.
We decided. Andre here's what the fucking dictator.
Yeah, you just sort of rolled all over us.
Oh,
Let me tell you what we're gonna do.
Let me tell you something. But we're going for this section. I decided to dedicate this particular part of the podcast to a the very unfortunate passing of someone who is very near and dear to all of us, someone who has been a major part of our lives for so many years, someone who has given so much time and effort for the sake of entertaining us, and that is the Koichi Kawakita, the special effects director for films such as the Heisei Godzilla series, Post, Return of Godzilla, 2 out of the 3 Mothra films in the 90s trilogy, Yamato Takaru, I believe Gunhead, and a whole bunch of stuff before and after. And the news
He did a bunch of Ultraman in the 70s too, I think, right?
Yeah. I think
Well, he worked on a bunch of them. He wasn't like the head honcho, but he was definitely yeah.
I remember
I think that's where he got his start, I want to say.
Yeah. And he was also involved with the 1974 Mechagodzilla.
Oh,
yes.
Because
I know he got his start off, from what I was reading on him. Kawakita, he started off. He did a lot with like matte photography, using mattes and stuff like that. So he was very much, and I believe he started with Gorath actually working on that masterpiece. I call a masterpiece, but Andre calls a piece of shit. And,
a masterpiece of shit. Yeah,
a masterpiece of shit.
I remember from the, just wondering, Biggie, were you able to attend the Koichi Kawakita panel at this year's G-Fest?
No, I actually didn't get to go to any panels this year at G-Fest, if you can believe it. I didn't get to have anything signed by any of the actors. Because, it was good and it's bad. Like, I was actually, like, pretty busy the entire time I was there at the table. So I had a good run of people coming up to the table. So that's why I didn't get to really attend any panels.
Well, if it makes you feel any better, I didn't get anything signed either because I wasn't there.
Instead of going to any panels at all, you were just wasting your time with assholes like Bill, Dylan, and I.
Just sitting there like, really? Can these guys are back again?
Oh, God damn it.
Don't you have somewhere to be?
If you're not going to buy any of my prints, why are you even here?
God, I'll give you one for free. Just go. It's fine.
Luckily, Bill, Dylan, and I did attend the Koichi Kawakita panel, and they did brought up this film. I can't believe I forgot what the name of the film is. Kind of like, I think it may have been a World War II era. It took place during World War II. It dealt with, I guess, the lives of a bunch of Japanese fighter pilots. And I think that was the movie that I guess he really got his start on as a special effects director, I believe. And there's this very impressive series of shots where there's maybe 20 planes on screen at once, and all of them were on wires. And one, you can barely see the wires, and two, you gotta figure with 20 planes flying around, that must have been a lot of puppetry, model work going at there. And there was one particular scene where there was a pilot whose brakes were not working, and there was this intense moment of him trying to land on the strip with busted landing gear, and it ends with this big explosion, and the pilot inside died. And it was Koichi Kawakita's decision to have him die in there, because he made it so that the way he shot those special effects scenes was so that to make it look like there's no way that the pilot could have escaped, even though in the actual script he was supposed to escape.
Oh.
he's like no. He dies in this scene.
He dies. He dies.
Go ahead.
He dies. He dies.
Was that a reference or something?
I didn't get it.
Me neither.
With this crickets chirping.
I'll probably put in
just cut this out. No, knowing Andre's just to piss me off, he's gonna leave it right in there.
Right. Listen to this guy.
Who's this fucking weirdo? What the hell?
Chirp, 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 chirp.
What was the movie that Koichi Kawakita worked on? The Zero?
For what?
The thing that you were just talking about.
Zero Pilot?
Zero Pilot or Zero Fighter? Because there's two titles.
There's Zero Fighter Daikusen, and then there's Zero Pilot from about 10 years later.
Saburo Saikai. Well, it was May 1976, so I'm going to click this trailer.
Okay, that sounds appropriate. Because, yeah, I think he made that movie during that period when there were no, Godzilla movies being made.
Mm.
No, it's definitely Toho. Not that it just screamed, oh, wow.
What was the title called? Zero.
Right now it says Zero Pilot, and I'm watching it. Hiroshi Fujikawa, isn't it? Dude, I love that guy.
Okay, and I guess what could you say was his first role, first film where he was the special effects director? Was it Biollante?
No, well, technically it was Zone Fighter, but that was a show. It was definitely because I was watching that wonderful Blu-ray released for Godzilla vs. Biollante, and I loved listening to him talk about how he's like, how the fuck are we going to do this? And he was like, we did nothing but play around. I was like, that must be like the greatest job ever. I just play around with shit, see what happens.
Kind of seems like the same sort of like situation that Eiji Tsuburaya had back in '54.
Yeah.
It's like, well, how are we supposed to do this?
In many ways, Biollante was a lot more ambitious just because of Biollante itself.
Yeah, like I've seen the like special effects work, like stills from behind the scenes, and all I see are just like nothing but like wires everywhere.
Yeah, like it took like almost 30 people to manipulate that fucking Biollante thing. I was like, holy crap. Ghidorah must have been like a fucking walk in the park compared to that.
But then you gotta wonder about like Yamato Takeru or Orochi the Eight-Headed Dragon when you think of like Orochi and all the strings puppeteering like his 8 heads. But then I guess it's not as complex as Biollante then, considering how...
No, I bet you that wasn't as... I bet you Biollante honestly was probably... I'd argue that was probably the most impressive and hardest thing he did.
I will agree with you on that.
I'm not saying that to diss him, saying like, oh, he got lazy after that. Fuck no. I'm saying that like, Biollante is wow.
Incredible, yeah. Out of all of his movies, I think Godzilla vs. Biollante is probably my favorite, with maybe a close second being... maybe The Battle for Earth.
I see.
That definitely the puppet.
He just totally did not. He's like, I see. You like those movies?
Yeah. Well, it's been a while. It's just that it's been. I'm not trying to diss you. It's just it's been a while since I've seen Battle for Earth.
Yep.
Yeah, I was actually going to plan on watching it soon, but then I was busy with a bunch of other stuff. But
I got sick, and then I was going to write to you, I swear, but then we got to start school again, and I just lost interest. What can I say?
I do have. I say like my favorite out of his body of work was I guess more for like a personal nostalgic level was Godzilla versus King Ghidorah 1991, and on the day that I heard about the news of his passing, it was that day as soon as I came home from classes, that was the movie that I immediately watched just to like remember him by. It's like it felt I don't know, kind of like a very strange experience. Like as soon as I heard about his death, I decided to just like watch my favorite movie of his, and then watching it was like a very, I guess, enlightening and somber experience at the same time.
Yep. Well, listen to me, I'm getting choked up now. I did something similar where I watched, Godzilla vs. Biollante, and then I kind of skimmed through like some of his like Godzilla vs. most of the Heisei series, basically. But it was just, I don't know, I was like totally bummed out. The last time I felt like bummed out when somebody from Hollywood, died, or, somebody from the film industry died. Jesus, I don't know who it was.
Robin Williams?
No. Well, I mean, everybody, but not like. Honestly, you can both laugh at me for this. It was when Jackie Gleason died, because when I was a little kid, I used to love The Honeymooners.
Oh my God! Wow, that's very sad.
Let's see, like, oh, that's really,
Well, he was part of like a very incredibly like, I'm not sure if you can call it revolutionary, but I guess so, because it kind of, that show really set the course for many modern day
like
shows that we have
here.
here.
Flintstones and The Simpsons and Married with Children and all sorts of.
Yeah. It's really like, even like in a show, a class I took a couple semesters ago, like History of Primetime Television. That was like one of the very first shows we watched in early in that semester. And I definitely have a lot of respect for that series and the actors involved. with Koichi Kawakita, what would you guys say was the first film you were exposed to of his?
Mine was Godzilla vs. King Ghidorah, but easily second place goes to Battle for Earth.
Yeah, for me, well, knowing that he was the one who was the director of special effects was versus Biollante.
I see.
Because that was back, like, I saw that on VHS, probably in the mid-90s. And, like, I was sort of, like, taken aback. Because for me, at that point, I was still thinking Godzilla was, you know, like, Son of Godzilla, kind of goofy era. So seeing Godzilla versus Biollante kind of changed my outlook on Godzilla, and I started getting more interested in Godzilla and kaiju films around that era because of, you know, his work on Biollante. And then obviously, you know, I branched out and I saw the Heisei Gamera trilogy, which is, like, for me, like the holy trinity of, you know, kaiju films.
For me, because I know I grew up with a lot of the Showa films first. Like the first two Godzilla films I ever watched were Sea Monster and the original Mechagodzilla.
Yep.
And I can't remember when, but I think it was on television. I saw either King Ghidorah or Mothra Battle for Earth. I can't remember which one I saw first, but I definitely remember soon afterwards I did see that HBO VHS with, you know, featuring that beautiful cover that was based off of the poster. And it was at a Hollywood Video store. You know, remember, kids, back in those days, we used to walk 15 miles to get movies for a weekend. And yeah, like I think it was on my very first trip to. Yeah, we used to go to Hollywood Video before moving to Blockbuster, and my very first trip to Hollywood Video, that was the first movie I ever got, was Godzilla vs. Biollante, and I remember just being absolutely floored, just being stunned by it, because I guess unlike Mothra and King Ghidorah were much more lighter toned films that focus a lot on like fantasy and sci-fi, whereas Biollante was much more darker. It still carried over like that dark, edgier tone that Return of Godzilla had.
Yep.
Well, I wouldn't call it edgy, but I call it darker.
Yeah, but like it's an interesting thing, stylistically, where Biollante was very dark. There was like, you know, quite a bit of like kaiju gore in that movie.
Yeah. Every time one of those tentacles went through Godzilla's hands, and there was a big squirt of green blood.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that was like the only time was that the only time we ever saw green blood from him?
Yellow. I think it was yellow, wasn't it?
Well, it could be. I always thought it was green, but
I thought it was yellow. Maybe I'm just colorblind to the color green, and I just see yellow. Maybe I'm just weird like that. I don't know.
Well, it's like you've always rejected green from your reality because you've always preferred yellow.
Easy there, Sinestro.
Who did the music for this movie? Sorry, I'm still looking up Zero Pilot because I just. Oh my God, he directed it? Wow.
Ishiro Honda came back from the dead. Oh wait, no, this is a movie. It was like the year after the movie he directed. But, anyways, would you guys say? Because interestingly enough, whenever I look at like reviews, especially on Toho Kingdom, I think it was on Toho Kingdom. I heard of this. I read of this term that I guess the people on that website like to use, where they like to refer to Mechagodzilla 2. Biollante. Oh no, actually it wasn't Mechagodzilla 2. I'm not sure if it was Mechagodzilla 2, Space Godzilla, and Destroya, or was it Mothra, Mechagodzilla 2, and Space Godzilla, where they kind of refer to those three movies as the Beam Wars trilogy.
Oh, right. The Bio Wars trilogy. Is that what it was?
No, I've always heard Beam Wars because there's a lot.
Oh, Beam. Oh, sorry. I thought you said B.
Oh, sorry, BEAM, where there's like much of the fighting choreography focused on them spamming beam attacks at each other as opposed to physical combat. And yeah, it's kind of interesting how when you move along the Heisei era of Godzilla films, you kind of notice how the character, I guess the suits themselves kind of gained much more of a bulkier, more elaborate, more intimidating
Yep.
designs, and not so much on the whole practicality of, in terms of mobility on the suits.
Sure. Sure.
I'm thinking like, well, do you guys tend to notice this when you're watching those films? And if so, like, why do you think this was the case why do you guys think that these decisions were made?
Well, it's like if you take a suit like Destroyer, it's almost like ceremonial in its ornateness, So when he's squaring off with Godzilla, it's like two very ornate kabuki actors going at it, as opposed to like you take something like from Pacific Rim, where it's more visceral, more physical.
Mm-hmm.
It's a little bit more, I guess, artistic is what I'm looking for.
I see. So I like how you came up with that kabuki actor metaphor. So it's kind of like two people putting on like a theatrical, over-the-top performance, as opposed
very
to like
stylized, very it's like every movement is specific and perfectly placed and perfectly timed. And
you think that sort of suit acting was also reflected in the previous three movies? Because I think that with Destroyer, they kind of got away from the use of beam attacks and actually returned to that whole like tooth and claw sort of choreography.
Yeah.
Because I think that maybe it was due to the nature of Mothra and Batra, but I didn't really see a whole lot of that physical combat. And I guess this was the first time that Mothra was given a beam attack. So I guess this was just to even up the playing field between her, Batra, and Godzilla in those films.
Well, yeah, probably.
And I think with Mechagodzilla 2, I think there was a decent amount of physical combat, much more so than Mothra.
Mm-hmm.
Although I do have to say I was disappointed with how Rodan was pulled off, because I felt like that puppet seemed a bit too stiff in comparison to like what came before.
I'm still really impressed with his wire works. I mean, something that and I know it's people haven't really talked about it, or we haven't talked about it yet, but I just want to talk about his grand visual effects for and considering how little time they had to make this movie, his grand visual effects for Godzilla vs. Destroyer. To me, that it will be my personal favorite for Kawakita, and I don't know if it's because of Kawakita's use of his visual effects or not, but I felt like that film, when I was looking at like Godzilla, I felt like I wasn't just looking at Godzilla. Like I felt like I was looking more at a character here than necessarily in like Space Godzilla or Battle for Earth, but I just loved how he was able to portray the burning Godzilla stuff. First off, the story of how they did that is phenomenal. But I feel really bad, actually, because when I found out that he died, everyone was telling me that he died, and I felt really terrible because I felt like I wasn't caring, because I was so wrapped up in a film that I just discovered called Passion of Joan of Arc.
that was really interesting. Like, everyone was posting about it, and then you were on Facebook posting about that movie.
Well, first off, I said in the beginning, I was like, because of the passing of a great special effects wizard, to brighten or to push away some of the gloomy clouds or whatever, I said, here's something that's actually positive. And I just don't know, like, how did he die? I don't understand.
Well, I think the details were not revealed when the news broke out about his passing.
Yeah, I don't know how he passed away. I just assumed it was from complications from old age.
Because I know he was, I believe, 76 when he died.
Yeah.
Oddly enough, he died on his birthday.
Birthday, yeah, December 4th, right? Was that the day?
I think it was the 5th, but
5th, sorry.
I could be wrong. But yeah, he was 76, and he seemed to be in decent health when we saw him at G-Fest. And, Well, I know, like maybe it could have been like a sudden heart attack or something. Maybe like something, because I've had relatives in the past who would have that sort of thing happen to them, and then that sort of thing just like greatly impacts their health in a negative way until like that's the thing that just completely cripples them, unfortunately, and then life takes its course. Oh, so I guess if anyone has any more last words to say about Koichi Kawakita before we move on.
Nope.
No, not really.
Okay, well, Koichi Kawakita...
Nope, he's a piece of shit. No, got nothing to say.
All right, so for Koichi Kawakita, he was a great man. He did a lot of spectacular work. It wasn't always consistent in terms of quality, but either way, each of his films always brought a great level of entertainment that we have remembered, that always remained with us and will remain with us for many generations to come.
Well, this is somber.
Yeah. So moving on, let's talk about the Toho goodness from this week.
We've looked at the past in terms of Godzilla's history. So moving on towards the future, we recently had a big announcement that that Toho was going to be producing a brand new Godzilla film for 2016. And so I just want to know, what do you guys think in terms of this big announcement and what it can mean for the franchise?
I think it's only going to be good. I mean, only good news. More Godzilla is always good in my opinion. I'm hoping that, I mean, they haven't said if it's going to be suitimation or if it's going to be CGI or going to be a mix. Honestly, I hope that it's a mix because I still love my rubber-suited monsters. Mm-hmm. But, I can understand that maybe they want to try to compete with the legendary Godzilla, which was all CGI too, so who knows? But the fact that we'll be getting, more Godzillas before the 2018 Godzilla versus King Ghidorah, Rodan, and Mothra from Legendary.
Three giant monsters, Earth's greatest battle.
Earth's greatest, yeah. Earth's mightiest monsters.
Yeah. And as for you, Adam?
Again, I wish I was more excited than I was because of fucking Passion of Joan of Arc. But I'm a little weirded out by it because I'm like, what the fuck, Toho? First you complained that Zilla, which rightfully was not a good adaptation of Godzilla, so then you bring it back with Godzilla 2000, and then all of a sudden we have, and I know this is going to get me a lot of hate, but I don't give a fuck anymore. All of a sudden you're like, this movie was too successful.
What do you mean by that? What do you mean by too successful? Like, where did you hear about this?
Because clearly and I'm not saying it, clearly they're doing this because they're jealous that this Godzilla, Legendary Pictures, was so successful. And so they're trying to cash in on it. That's exactly what's going on here. This is Toho, and I'm speaking from Toho from a business point of view. Mm-hmm. And I mean, this is as plain as day, what they're trying to do. And I'm not complaining because I really want the Robot God Akamatsu movie again really bad. And let Shizuke Kaneko direct it, and I'll be okay.
I think there were like rumors spreading around that some other directors... Yeah, I hear you guys. And James, before we started this section, you were telling me something similar to that as your theory.
Yep. That I think it might have just been a matter of pride that they don't want to let their own creation be outdone by another company, or by Hollywood. More importantly, more specifically, I should say.
And it seems kind of like. I was thinking, like, it's kind of interesting how this is kind of like the opposite sort of mentality they seem to have had back in 1998, where I believe they planned to retire Godzilla from 1995 to 2004, but then of course Godzilla 98 happened, so they decided to continue the franchise onwards. But I'm surprised that they decided not to take a break, and that, like you, Adam, I do kind of feel a bit weirded out that we're having two continuities of Godzilla films going on at the same time. I mean, yeah, I love Godzilla, and of course, like I'm all excited for a new Godzilla movie because it's Godzilla. But it's really, I just find it really strange. Like, I'm not as excited as most people are on the internet. Just that I'm only conscious as to like why is this movie happening, and just like what could this mean for like the other? Is they trying to compete against their own American version? Are they trying to compete against the legendary version in terms of popularity or whatever? Or are they trying to satisfy people who are unsatisfied with Godzilla 14?
Yeah, and you see, here's the thing. It's like, I don't understand it. I mean, I understand it from a business standpoint. Money, 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 money. More
Like
money, the better.
The more product you put out, the more products you put out, the more money you're going to get because of that.
Exactly. And, you know, but the part of me is also like, Toho, you're getting a shit ton of money from the first Godzilla movie still. But, you see, me, I would have let the Legendary series play out.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe they might be doing this just because there's going to be such a gap between the first Godzilla film and this Godzilla 2 Electric Kaiju Bundaroo. But I am a little weirded out. I am that we're going to have these two continuities going on. I can tell you a feeling that's somewhat similar. But again, at the same time, it's not. It was like me reading the Attack on Titan manga while watching the anime as it was coming out. It was weird. It felt kind of like that, even though it was like
felt like you were cheating on it.
I did. That's exactly. I feel like, and of course I'm going to watch them both, but it's like, which one am I going to support more? Am I going to support America's version, or am I going to support Japan's version? It's like, what am I going to do here? I'm stuck in a rock and a hard place, you know? Am I excited for both? Am I excited to see both? Fuck yeah, I want to see Ghidorah, the three-headed monster, remade. But I'm not sure how to take the Japanese right now.
maybe the Legendary version just inspired them to make new Godzillas. Probably not,
so.
but
those are some mighty strong. Those are some mighty strong words there, Biggie.
Maybe Toho just wants everybody to be happy.
That's bullshit. Those are some mighty strong words there.
It's funny you said that.
As we know, Toho has they're rather money-grabbing whores sometimes.
In other words, they're a bunch of big meanie heads.
You're a bunch of meanie heads.
We were James and I. We were just coming up with this like idea where it's like, what if there was like a Toho representative who went over to Legendary's like, oh, Gojira was a big success. When is there going to be Gojira 2 in next year? Because you know how like Toho, they're used to just putting out these Godzilla movies.
Yeah,
like,
I know.
Every year,
Every year.
He's like, yeah, we're going to wait about like 4 years before Godzilla 2 comes out. And the representative's like, oh, this is unacceptable. We will not have this happen. We will make all Gojira, and we will fill up the gap between your Gojira films.
See, a part of me wants to go, Andres, you racist fuck. But another part of me is like, it's so true.
I already called him that earlier, so don't worry.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
it's kind of true, though, Andres. You got kind of a point. I mean, let's look at production qualities in Japan versus production qualities here in the United States. Mm-hmm. You know, I hate to admit this, but there are certain things that each country or kind of business or film in terms of film kind of specializes in. I hate to admit it, but I think Hollywood very much so is in the visual spectacle side of things. I mean, I hate to say it, but look at Transformers, Avatar. I guess you could say
Avengers.
Yeah, those kind of things. Very visual effects heavy things for the spectacle. Mm-hmm. Japan isn't like that. Japan doesn't work like that.
They're kind of like more traditional in terms of their special effects. It's like they can't...
not just because of that's what they prefer. A lot of it is because it's budgets. Yes, they don't have the money that we have to do all this shit.
Uh-huh.
However, you know, after seeing the trailers and all the stuff I've seen for the new live-action Attack on Titan movie, which I'm still going to probably be disappointed in, simply because they fucked John up. However, you know, the visual effects on that are really fucking good. And those are all, for the most part, practical. And, of course, then I always point to Gamera 3.
A lot of people seem to be doing that.
Gamera 3, I think, is the best animation I've ever seen, period.
Yeah, I'll agree.
But I don't know, I guess it's all I can really say in the end without rambling on anymore, is that it's going to be interesting, and let's wait and see.
Well, in the end, we get more Godzilla, so...
In the end, it doesn't even matter, because I tried too hard. I lost it all.
Dun 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 dun. You got it backwards, by the way.
Oh, okay. I don't listen to Linkin Park.
Was that Linkin Park?
Yes.
Oh well. Well, do you guys think that with this movie Toho's going to once again try to remake some of their older kaijus for like this new Godzilla movie?
You know what they're gonna do? They're gonna make their version of Zilla.
Yeah.
No.
As like the ultimate troll move.
No. Well, technically they already did, but imagine...
No. Like they call it Godzilla, but it's clearly not Godzilla. Like they make it look like Gorgo or something.
Where they're supposedly making a Godzilla movie, but it's not Godzilla at all.
It's clearly not Godzilla at all, but they keep calling it Godzilla.
Maybe just to troll North Korea, they end up using that old Pulgasari suit from the 80s.
Yes.
Or imagine if they, imagine they just make like whatchamacallit. They make like suit versions of the Muto creatures.
Oh yeah.
How the fuck would that be done? I don't...
And that is an awesome picture. That's all the colossal Titan ever wanted.
He just wanted a ramen bento.
Yeah.
Why the hell can't I view these pictures?
Because you lack discipline.
To view shared photo, go to www. Oh no, I need to go to fucking Skype website.
Go to www.fuckyou.com. Oh, whatever.
I don't even know what my Skype name is. What is it? What is it to you guys?
Well, mine, it's just a dot per... Oh, wait, I'm not going to give that away on the internet.
My social security number is 12.
The password to hack into my computer is 1, 2, 3, 4,
00000.
That's like some lame-ass password that people put on their luggage. With that being said, I'm changing my password.
All right, guys. I unfortunately have to drop off because it's about 1:15 for me. So
okay.
I'm going to turn into a pumpkin very soon.
Okay.
Well, no, actually, my son gets up in about 4 hours. So.
Oh boy.
Get your sleep. Your son takes priority.
I need to
screw the podcast.
No, it was a good chat. We were talking for a good long time.
Yes.
Oh wait, I got that ass backwards. Screw your son. Do the podcast.
I kill you.
Yeah, I know. I completely understand your responsibilities, and yes, definitely.
Don't call me an adult now, Jesus.
Well, I'm just saying, like...
You are an adult!
You are an adult! Like, Gandalf comes out.
Not bad. Seriously. Every time I hear...
Dumbledore comes walking in. I'm an adult!
Gandalf sitting on the toilet, constipated.
He goes up to you. Like,
not pass.
Like, you
have bird poop.
This
is so embarrassing. Why didn't anybody tell me?
Gandalf comes in. He's like, "Is your son here? Is he safe?" He just gets all up into the camera. Is it safe? Is he safe?
What the fuck? Oh, you smell like fish. Get away from me.
What are you doing in my room?
What are you doing here again?
Or what? Go away and go be Magneto somewhere else. I don't know. Whatever. But yeah, thank you very much, James. It's been
guys, thank you for having me. It was a blast.
thank you. It was just as much of a blast for us as well.
It was good meeting you, James Biggie,
Virtually.
virtually.
And
I hope you
hopefully
get those pictures I sent you.
One day I will see these pictures and I will find you.
and I will
And I
thank
will-
I
and
have
I
a very
will,
specific set
and I
of
will
skills.
thank you.
good luck. But yeah, even though we unfortunately couldn't have like that big, like giant robot like conversation, just us geeking out about stuff we like. Hopefully there will be hopefully there will be another opportunity in the future. But until then, thank you very much for the time that you spend with us here. And can I make one little request?
You sure can.
In past, whenever I would have wherever we would have Jacob Baker on as a guest, I would have like a title card where it's like my mascot interacting with his mascots. I was wondering if it's okay if we have, if with your permission, we can have like a depiction of like Draco Azul facing off against RGA.
Of course. Absolutely.
Okay, awesome. So,
I'll draw it in stick figure form.
Yes.
like one is blue, the other is red.
Why did he draw two penises fighting? Again.
What is with him in this way?
I asked him to
What is
sign
with
my
him
comic
in
cover and he
drawing
just drew a
certain-
penis on it.
What the hell is going on? Is he turning into Hideaki Anno on our asses? I just don't understand what's going on here.
Oh, it's just a bunch of crayon drawings.
What is going on?
Did
I
he have,
wanted him to sign my 2000 AD and he just drew a big penis on it.
did he have
Oh,
his son-
Hideaki Anno.
Oh, Ano. James Biggie, the next Ano.
Yeah, that is not.
That's how Robot God Akamatsu is going to end.
Yeah.
You should end it. Yes, okay, James. You should end Robot God Akamatsu like the very last 10 pages with crayon drawings.
No, they need to end with crayon drawings. It needs to suddenly have a kid waking up, and then it needs to have everyone saying congratulations, and then the last 3 pages need to be completely black, and the first page goes goodbye, no, hello father, good, and then the second page is goodbye mother, and then the final page is and to all the children, congratulations.
Like basically tell your Frankie Washington was like, hey, how about you put no effort into the last 10 pages.
It's like, look, I'm gonna make your job really fucking easy. The last 10 pages, I just want 2 people on an escalator. Not saying anything, not doing anything, just standing there. You can just draw it once and we'll copy it 10 times.
Just do the opposite of what you normally do.
Yeah. Any sort of talent you'll put into this, just throw it out the window.
See all these preliminary sketches? Yeah, burn them.
Yeah, because they're too good. They're too good.
Too good. It's too good for us.
In fact, let me go to my son's sketchbook here. We'll repurpose.
Yes.
Just have your son draw the coloring paint drawings.
Oh wait, side note, so next week my son's school, they're having an art show, and he told me for the art show he made me my own comic.
Oh,
Pretty psyched about that.
that is
Last year for
awesome.
the art show he made me a book of monsters.
Oh,
Yeah.
that is amazing. Having children must be
You know-
amazing.
No, it's really not.
I've already warped his mind, so
Congratulations.
You know what? Screw Jacob Baker's dad. No. I need to make you a cardboard cutout of Best Father of the Year nominee.
world's
hand it to James
okayest dad.
The world's most okayest.
World's
That-
okayest
with
dad.
a piece of cardboard that you stole from a homeless guy and just put in black marker the best dad nominee.
On the other side says we'll work for food.
Oh, this is rich. But yes, I guess this will be an appropriate time to end this particular section of Shuwatch. We'll end right after the break. So, James, with your parting words, how about you make How about you make one last request for the song of the podcast?
Oh, BioWars from Godzilla vs. Biollante.
Yes.
Yeah, bring it.
Hello, people of the internet, and welcome to the final section of Shuwatch, Super Dynamic Ultra Force Go. And unfortunately, this is going to be a rather Biggie-less section of the podcast, but fear not.
I'm afraid my beautiful personality scared him away.
Don't worry, he will be back what's the phrase? In times being, in all due time? Yeah, he'll be back in all due times. And hopefully we can convince Bill to just get that interview started right away. But as for this final section, this was something I had in mind as a topic for a while now. And actually it was one of our fans, Sean Berry, who came up with who requested the idea for us to talk about this topic, which is, I would call them internet reviewers, but I don't know, like, that's the one thing I really want to get into, where it's like, I'm not sure if it's really, you can call them reviewers. I mean, like, even like, I guess it wasn't even until like the dawn of like Angry Video Game Nerd and Nostalgia Critic where the term reviewer was a thing.
Right.
But yeah, basically we're talking about those kind of people where it's like these are people who gain a lot of popularity through talking about and criticizing and making a bit of a spectacle out of reviewing popular media, be it movies, TV shows, video games, or comic books, or what have you. And basically, so yeah, it's really hard to start about this because this is a rather broad topic as to talk about these kind of individuals. But I don't know where to start here, but I'll let you decide, Adam.
Well, I really want to talk about the appeal of them, and I can tell you what I really like about them, and that is they're able to say the shit that you can't say on TV.
True. And
that's immediately what attracts me to them. And it's kind of funny how we're talking about them, considering the fact that we are kind of Z-grade. We do the same thing, so I feel like if we tear them apart, we're kind of tearing ourselves apart, and I don't want to feel like a hypocrite doing this, because I am an arrogant douchebag, and I fully admit that. So...
yeah, let's start on that. Like, the whole concept of reviewing in and of itself, where it's like, it's something that was so popular, even you and I do that on a much smaller level.
Extent. I still say that I don't really, I mean, I call them that in the videos, but I still say overall, I don't review things. I just talk about them. I don't ever really feel like I actually review a movie.
But then again, what is reviewing? Because I think that term has kind of been stretched a bit in terms of these people like us and that guy with the glasses, or Cinemassacres, or some other place or what have you. But you see, the term review means that you are viewing it again, and whenever the term review is used, it means like you are viewing it again with a much more critical mind. And the thing is, that's pretty much in essence what a review is. You talk about something as if you're recollecting your thoughts and going over the thing that you just watched or experienced for a second time. Only this time you're going over what is good, what is bad, what needs improvement, what could have done better. And that is what you and I do. Even if we are talking about it, we are talking about it through a critical perception. No, a critical perspective.
I don't know. I mean, I see reviews as basically somebody going deep into the plot as well, or somebody basically going into it like, here's a basic overview of the plot. Mm-hmm. And if you watch the stuff that I do, I hardly ever do that. I almost either expect you to know what I'm going to talk about already, or that you've already seen it. Mm-hmm. And I fully admit that hurts me in the end. But, I don't really care because I don't review stuff. I just analyze it. And there is a difference. Mm-hmm. And I look at people like the Nostalgia Critic. Nostalgia Critic definitely reviews. He looks at the plot, and that's it.
But I'm not sure about that because, well, I guess this really applies to his more later videos where, I don't know. I think again that I brought this up where these people like him kind of stretch the definition of what a review is, because I feel like as some of these individuals like to turn their reviews into more of a show or more of like a spectacle, they kind of lose aspect of that review portion of the series where before like Doug Walker would simply go over a video in less than maybe 10 or 15 minutes and makes a few observations here and there, whereas nowadays his videos go to 30 to 40 minutes long, going over every single plot point. And
not that my videos ever go that long either. I mean, look at Congratulations on Genesis Evangelion Retrospective episode 24, which the episode's only 23 minutes long, and my review for it's an hour and 5 minutes.
But the thing is, you're talking about stuff such as allegories, themes, character development, animation, just a whole lot of stuff that goes into that episode. Whereas the Nostalgia Critic, he just points out things within the plot and makes a joke about them and ends up going to full comedy skit SNL mode.
Now, you see, I don't hate that because that's his style, and sometimes it works better than others, but I still find his stuff hilarious. Like his review for Monster Squad, I thought was absolutely hilarious and genius. But you see, I stopped looking at him recently as a reviewer and more like a show guy.
Yeah, same here, because it's very clear that that's the direction he wants to take it.
That's the director, and really, I could be honest why he's doing that, and that's because of the failure of the show.
Demo reel,
which
it's so much of a failure you didn't even remember the title.
Yeah, I mean, I found the last 2 episodes really funny and really smart and extremely well written, but it wasn't that good. I only
saw the first episode.
The first episode was awful.
I know. I was like, this is just a rehash of his worst Nostalgia Critic episodes.
I mean, the last 2 episodes were pretty decent. Like, the Thanksgiving one was hilarious, and they're trying to make Angry Birds, and so they got a turkey, and then a turkey gets loose and starts, trying to kill them. It's hilarious. I thought that was hilarious. But, overall, it just wasn't that good. And I could tell that he was bitter about people not liking it. And so then he started incorporating all that stuff that he built up with this.
Especially with the 2 actors.
Nostalgia Critic. Yeah. And in contrast, however, to Doug Walker, who I consider, again, just restate what I just said previous, that I think that he makes shows now more than he makes reviews. Brad Jones definitely makes reviews.
Though
he kind of has a character he follows, which is that snobby jackass.
Someone you could relate to.
Exactly.
And I think, with his...
But he definitely reviews. His isn't a show. He reviews. He might throw in, a skit at the beginning or at the ending, but it's very few and far between.
Yeah, and because it's so few and far between, it's much more memorable in a way. I mean, remember when his friend Jared was dressed up as a Sasquatch or something?
Yeah.
It starts helping him.
I like the one where he goes outside and he's butt naked, he's having a meltdown.
Yeah, what was it that his review for Orgy of the Dead?
Yeah,
Nudist Colony of the Dead.
Oh, I thought it was Orgy of the Dead. Oh well.
No, that was an Ed Wood movie that James Rolfe reviewed.
Oh, okay.
It's he's definitely much more smaller in terms of what he's trying to accomplish, but it's much, I don't know, in my opinion, I personally would prefer review the more analytical stuff as opposed to the big show skit sort of thing. That's why I like Brad Jones. He's just one man on a couch gives his thoughts in less than in this amount of time. Go.
Well, that's another thing that he just doesn't do Cinema Snob. I love his midnight... He calls them midnight reviews.
Yeah.
But they're not reviews. They're basically retrospectives, if you look at it, because he's coming straight out of the theater. He's like, this is what I thought about that. That was pretty cool.
Oh, it's interesting.
And that's another thing I like about Brad Jones, too, is like he's very much like, yeah, I have my opinion on it, but you don't need to have that opinion either. And he's very honest with you. He's very much like, yeah, I liked it. You know, I didn't hate it. It was pretty good. Anybody who says their favorite movie is Caligula needs to be prepared to say something like that.
Yeah. And just interestingly enough, for anyone interested, it was those midnight reviews that inspired the way I do my reviews with Pete on like the current stuff that's out in theaters, right? Whenever we had the chance. And
well, I'll say, and I will promote this guy as much as possible, even though he is very geekish. Like, he is geek to the extreme. Like, he is my ultimate inspiration. And his YouTube channel is called Arshian Gaia. And Arshian Gaia, he does a lot of...
Sorry, mind spelling that out?
I gotta type it out. Hold on.
Okay.
Archiengia. I think that's it. Hold on. I'll send you a link to his page.
Okay.
Oh, no, there's no I. Okay, it's Archiengeia. And we're now friends on Facebook. And what he does is he actually made an entire video saying, I do not review. What he's got this weird thing where he literally just sets up a webcam and talks. But he doesn't just do reviews and stuff like that. Like, he's now currently doing, he calls them ruminations. Where he basically just looks back and just talks about them. But, like, he's doing the Star Wars series. But he also does, like, a D&D campaign where he just plays his D&D campaign and what happens, and they're really good. But, yeah, he also does, like, marathons where it's literally him playing certain games and stuff like that. And he is my inspiration because when he sits down and talks about it, he's very calm about it, or he's very much like, this is what I think. You can disagree with it, but this is what I think. And he's very much into writing. He's very much into what makes a good plot. And basically it is he who really inspired me to do like my Godzilla Saga video or my Mothra Saga universe videos and stuff like that to explain this kind of strange... I just sent you the link to his channel.
Right, thank you.
And he's really my inspiration because this guy here, what I really like about him is that he just sits down in front of the camera and just talks. And it is that aspect there that makes me really feel like I'm connecting with him, even though he is not really having a conversation with me. He just sits down and he just speaks. See, and I very much so wanted to copy that. I wanted to kind of get that, especially in my recent reviews. Normally I'd stand up and I'd be like bouncing back and forth and jumping off the walls. But
Which
now
interestingly enough, a lot of more popular YouTubers seem to do that, where they just stand in front of like a wall and talk in front of the camera
and just talk and bitch. And I used to be like that. Like, for example, they're gone now, but like my review for Warm Bodies. I had to take that down for copyright reasons, but I think I would have taken it down in the end anyways because it's a terrible review or analysis, period. And two, I don't feel like that fits what I want on my channel in terms of the videos that I put out. And, you know, especially ever since that troll came and rightfully tore me a new one. Ever since that has happened, I've suddenly... I don't know if I'm doing a very good job at this, but in my videos... Yes, in my videos, it's like I try to now sit back and try to be like, this is just my opinion. You can have a different opinion. And I try not to be quite as arrogant, I guess, in my videos now because of that.
Well, I gotta say, you're doing a much better job than someone like, say, like Doug Walker, which I'm sorry, but like...
Doug Walker. No, to me, it's not Doug Walker anymore. It's Rob. His brother's terrible.
It's like, I don't know why the two of them, like, unlike, like, say, like Brad Jones, who's like, yeah, this is my opinion, you're free to disagree. With those two, they always give off this very, like, pretentious vibe where it's like they believe they are so right, and, like, they come off as very conceited, very condescending to whatever they talk down about. I don't know, it's just like whenever they give their opinions, they sound so arrogant. It's just I don't know, it just like comes off as being really petty about something that they don't like.
Well,
really.
the problem that I think they have is that they've let this fame get to their head. And Rob, I especially have this problem with Rob. It's just he's right and we're all wrong, no matter what happens.
Mm-hmm. Like his opinion is well, I'm just speaking for both of them. Their opinion is like the only one that really truly matters.
Exactly, and I'm like, you can't be farther from the truth. You have to know that it takes, and I've learned this again, and I have to, I don't know if he listens to us anymore, and I kind of hope he does, because I want him to actually hear me say this.
Mm-hmm.
I've learned mainly because of this troll that it really does take everyone to make the world go round. And, you know, I'm not even going to call him a troll anymore, because I think he legitimately had a point.
To be honest, I think so too.
Yes. And ever since he did that and attacked me, that's when I realized I gotta tone it down. Like, bad. And hopefully I'm starting to get better. I don't know if I am or not, because again, I talk and sometimes I act it, but I'm trying not to be serious with it whenever I do it.
Like how we were with Biggie.
Like how we were with Biggie, like just now. No, I wasn't being serious with that at all.
Uh-huh.
But, like, yeah, if I was to ever sit down and just talk, like, the recent review that I've had that so far has kind of, like, become my favorite is the one that I did with my friend Kyle for Only God Forgives.
Uh-huh.
And that movie is either loved or hated by people.
Uh-huh.
There is no in between.
Uh-huh.
And I felt like that was the most, for me anyways, I felt like that was the most in-between review I've ever done. Like, presenting both sides of the opinion. But, you know, then you got people like Doug Walker.
Uh-huh.
And I know you don't like Doug Walker. I don't mind him as much as you do, but it's his brother Rob that I can't stand anymore.
Uh-huh.
I've unliked Rob's page because I was like, I'm so done with your opinion. You say I'm wrong no matter what I do.
Yeah, yeah.
And the truth is I'm not wrong. I've just got a different opinion.
And
you know.
Going back to the beginning, would it be too much of a stretch to say that most of this, like this whole sub genre that is reviewing started with the Angry Video Game Nerd way back in 2006?
I'd say that was the beginnings of it.
I mean, we've always had reviewers. I mean, back in the olden times,
in my day,
we called them critics. You know, we had like, you know, to this day, you know, we've always had like restaurant critics, movie critics, book critics. You know, they got paid to do this sort of stuff. And then came people like James Rolfe who got popular enough because they happened to have put a bit of effort into their work, and they started making money out of it. And now we have a bajillion people, ourselves included, who try to like jump in on the sort of like reviewing bandwagon.
Yeah, but again, I don't like to call myself on that bandwagon.
Yeah, I mean,
feel like I just set up the camera and talk for like 30 minutes.
Yeah. Like,
and I don't. Some of my videos, I don't even talk about movies. I just talk about stuff that I'm doing or stuff along that side. Though I'm not to the point of Brad Jones where it's like, I'm going to do a video of me trying this, even though I kind of want to do that.
We got to do that with Mexican candy, man.
Yeah, we do.
I showed you Pelon Rico, and you were like, what the fuck is that? No, you see, you got squirted out, and then you eat it.
What? Mexicans are weird.
Mexicans are weird. But I don't like. I mean, I will freely admit the reason why I started making YouTube videos was because I was inspired by people like, you know, like the Nostalgia Critic, like Angry Video Game Nerd, like especially Geekvolution, even Bill. You know, when he did reviews on like a more regular basis. But I would say like when I went in, I didn't really came into this with the idea of being popular or even being like making money off of this. I mean, of course not. But I mean, the fact that I managed to get like over 380 subscribers still astounds me, and I thank every single one of you who are listening and have been following me for as long as you have been. But the main reason why I started doing video reviews was mainly to inform and to entertain in a way. Like, I mean, I hope I've been just as entertaining as I have been informative, but yeah, like the thing is, it all goes back to like I have been entertained by a lot of reviews, and I wish to do the same thing. Which leads me to ask you this, Adam: why do you think we are entertained by reviews?
I don't know. I like to hear other people's opinions on stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll be honest, mainly because I want to know if it lines up with me.
Uh-huh.
I want to know if the opinion that I have on something is interesting. But, like half the movies are snob reviews. It's like, why would I ever watch this in my own spare time? But, it's...
So part of it comes from
sometimes
like a
it's a
validation?
laugh. Sometimes I just watch it to laugh.
Mm-hmm.
Like, for example, Snob's review for Halloween 2. I watched that just because I wanted to laugh. That's the only reason why I did it. And like a lot of good internet critics, and I feel, again, like such a fucking hypocrite for saying this because we kind of fall into that category. I feel like a lot of them make you laugh as well as think.
Uh-huh.
And...
You think is mostly due to their personalities themselves, or like the persona they try to put on screen?
The personas, usually. Because I fully acknowledge that there are personas with reviewers. Like, Brad Jones doesn't act like the cinema snob in reality. I mean, there are times when Brad Jones will take over cinema snob.
Uh-huh.
For example, his review for Golden Girl. That is like one of my favorite examples of why I love Brad Jones. It's because he's like, overall, this movie is total shit. But then he's like, but seriously, her performance in this movie is so good. He does call it like he sees it. He sees, if he sees something that he likes,
mm-hmm.
he says it. I like it. He's like, that was pretty good. Stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
But I watch it for laughs. Sometimes I watch it just because background, like Arshan Gaya, he's great for background noise.
Mm-hmm.
Like when I'm working on something, I'll be listening to him multitasking.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm pretty sure when I'm cleaning this fucking dorm of mine tomorrow, I'm gonna be probably listening to one of his ruminations.
And do you think when we do stuff like that, when we make our own reviews, analyses, whatever, do you think we tend to knowingly trying to put on an exaggerated persona of ourselves?
Oh, I do. I know that.
I guess
like
so.
the way, like for example, the way I was just acting with James Biggie.
Yeah, we kind of like tend to like play up certain aspects of our personality or just say things that we would never say in real life.
Well, yeah, and so far, I think Bill is the only one that acts the same exact way as he does fucking...
And it's funny enough, Dylan, he's a lot more reserved than he actually is.
Yeah.
I
really started finding that out after we reviewed the Daimajin trilogy.
Yeah.
Dylan needs... All I can say is I want Dylan to do more reviews, because that kid...
Considering he's like, what, 2 years older?
Yeah, he's 2 years older
2 years older than you, yeah.
Well, I either say kid or bud, no matter what, so...
Yeah.
That's just habit.
On a side note, I just want to say it's always funny how Bill refers to his audience as kids. Like, listen up, kids. Like, get ready for tomorrow, kids. I'm like, you do know people like me are in your audience, right, Bill?
I don't even know what the hell I refer to my audience as.
That's why I go general. I go broad. People of the internet. Net.
Oh no, I call them insects. That's what I do.
Which is proof that you have learned absolutely nothing about toning it down.
Absolutely nothing when it comes down to shit.
Now, let's see.
I wanna show you this video just to watch it quickly. But I hope I never sound quite this bad in one of my videos.
Oh, this ought to be good, man. The secret of my success. Oh boy. By the most arrogant man in the world. Let's see.
You have been described variously as the guru of square mile, a legend in your own Armani suit, and the greatest businessman this planet has ever seen. How do you regard these claims?
Insulting. Do you honestly believe words can do justice to my commercial genius?
I should open up
Not
one of
to
my
mention
videos
my
with this,
personal
just to...
What is you have been referred to as all these great things. How do you feel about that?
Your personal qualities
Insulted.
obviously do not include modesty.
Modesty is not a word
Modesty
that
is for
exists
yes
in the
men,
Piers Black
fools.
dictionary. Modesty is for yes men and fools.
It has been said that honesty and fair dealing are not in your dictionary either.
And why would they be?
Oh my god!
Honesty is for wimps and fair dealing is for losers.
So your business empire has been built on dishonesty and unfair dealing.
I have no time to waste on spurious moral niceties. My empire is built on 3 foundational business principles. Profit, profit, and ever greater profit.
Okay, so looks like we know the secret to success.
Profits, and ever greater chances for profits. A chance to obtain profits.
This looks like some sort of a skit that I guess some person made, and considering it's the only video he made, I guess it was like for a class or something.
Yeah, probably.
But really entertaining.
Genius. This is bullshit.
Let's see, why did you brought this up? I forgot now.
Oh, I brought it up because I was like, I hope I never sound quite this bad in any of my videos.
Too late.
Oh shit.
Bum 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 bum. Wow.
No, but seriously, that guy gave me a wake-up call that I needed.
He's most likely isn't even real. So I think one of the reasons, one major reason why people like reviewing or like watching people review or do reviewing themselves, do you think it has to do with being able to have the ability to pass judgment onto something that is greater than you? By that I mean these are people who have much more money, they have a lot of talent, and they're making these big budgeted projects, and you are there and you get to say whether or not this is good or bad. You think there's some sort of appeal that comes to that when it comes to reviewing? Being able to judge something?
What is judging? No,
That's not pretentious whatsoever.
No, I don't know. I really don't know how to answer that, Andres, because I don't know. Because I feel like such a hypocrite for even talking about this.
Every single popular reviewer sucks, and we're the best.
And we're the best. That's what you need to get at this conversation.
We're so humble because we don't make any money off of our reviews.
Except that doesn't stop us. No.
Even though we would like to sell out at the drop of a dime.
We would like to sell out at the drop of a dime.
Yeah. So, what would you say have been some of your favorite reviewers, shall we say?
Nostalgia Critic used to be one of them.
Mm-hmm.
I actually my favorite one of his reviews were the later part of his first Persona. like before he made To Boldly Flee, like the ones that came out just before he made To Boldly Flee. I loved those ones. Like Doug's first movie and Signs, and I thought his review for Signs was hilarious. And also, his review for The Haunting, I found to be not only intelligent in terms of how he presented it, but also just fucking hilariously well done. Brad Jones is right up there. I actually say overall he would be my favorite full-on reviewer. There's a couple of guys on YouTube that I watch once in a whatever.
Especially this asshole Zanzibar. I don't know. Zanzibar.
That is whatever the fuck that is, other than the movie made in the 30s. Who's another one? Jeremy Johns. Is that his name?
Oh, yeah. I really like that
really respect that guy. I don't really know why, but I do.
I like his passion and enthusiasm for movies in general. I know a lot of people are really turned off by his use of quick cuts.
Yeah, that turns me off a little bit too, I'll be honest. But
I think he mentioned one time, there was he was brought up in a particular video for like what's it called, like AMC Movie Talk or whatever. I know you don't like them, but I'm just gonna bring them up because they did brought up him and how one of them brought up Jeremy Johns and how they respect him and they enjoy his stuff, but they are annoyed by the whole like quick cuts. And Jeremy Johns actually responded, being like acting very. He appreciated them bringing him up, and he mentioned something about how like I think I maybe might have misread this, but he may have been suffering from some sort of does suffer from some sort of like ADHD sort of thing going on. So maybe his quick cutting is a way to get around his sort of condition.
I don't know.
I could be
if it is, then it is. But
I could be completely wrong, but I've gotten used to his style of editing, but only because I'm more enticed by what he has to say.
Well, granted, I quick cut on a couple of things. I don't do it anywhere near as much as I used to, just because I want my videos now to more feel like a conversation more than like you're being dictated to. Again, thanks to Arsh and Gaia. But my review for, 55 Days of Peking? I used a lot of quick cuts in that. Because I wanted it to feel more energetic, considering the fact that it's 36 minutes long. Well, now I wouldn't really... I mean, I still do cut a little bit. Like, I cut out some ums, or I cut out, like, long pauses where I'm trying to think of what to say. I'll do that just to keep the video going. But I don't do the quick cuts like I did in that. In 55 Days of Peking, which I still like that review because I overall think I did a really good job at presenting all fronts on that one. And that was the first review I ever did where I took notes, by the way. Ever since that review, I've taken notes on everything that everything I've talked about, I take notes on.
Have you ever heard of another internet film critic named Chris Stuckman?
No.
Okay, I'll send you a link. He's kind of like a much more subdued Jeremy Johns, where it's just him in front of a camera, and he does quick cuts every now and then, but not nearly as much as Jeremy Johns. And he's just basically a guy. Here I am. Here's the movie, and here's basically what my thoughts are. And he also kind of he seems like a really nice kind of person, like a really nice guy, very humble, I guess. And he's the kind of guy I think like basically he's kind of the person like I can really get behind what this person has to say. Like I'm curious as to what this person's opinions are.
It does take a certain kind of person to make me kind of care about what they think about. And I'm not saying that to be mean or anything. It just Oh, I have seen this guy. Oh god, he reviewed Exodus, Gods and Kings. I refuse to see that movie, by the way.
It's like, yeah, nothing can ever replace the Ten Commandments. No.
That wasn't even what I was going to say, but...
No, I'm just saying what the old exaggerated version of Adam would say. Like, Charlton Heston is the only man that can play Moses.
Oh, I know what this guy. Yeah, I've seen this guy's videos. He did a couple things for Fate Zero, and I watched him for that. No. I think he did Only God Forgives. He talked about Only God Forgives because this guy's a big Nicholas Winding Refn fan, and he talked about Only God Forgives, and that's what I watched. Okay.
Let's see. I do like another person that I do like who is very, very popular in terms of video gaming is JonTron.
Never heard of him.
Oh, really? Okay. So, well, I guess you don't tend to look into like the whole video game section of the internet.
Not really.
Okay.
Rarely I do. Sometimes I do.
Basically what I like about JonTron is what I used to like about the Angry Video Game Nerd. The only thing was, like, I used to be a big fan of his. I mean, I just used to be a very appreciative. I just, like, he was the first person I ever saw on YouTube. He was the first person I've ever subscribed to. Only because, you know, back then on YouTube, like, back in the prehistoric days, people were just in front of their webcams just, you know, doing whatever they do. Or just, like, making random stuff. But then, I feel like with the Angry Video Game Nerd, he was the first person I personally ever saw who tried to treat his videos as if they were films, like always trying to go at his projects with from a cinematic angle, I guess you can say.
Right.
But then as years went on, I just feel like kind of got like not bored, but just like not as excited because I guess as I grow up, I grew more mature, and I guess his not immature, but his very crass style of humor just didn't wowed me, I guess you can say, or just I wasn't entertained by that sort of thing anymore. And
well,
then,
it is very few and far between because, you know, sometimes I do just want to watch a video of a guy screaming about a movie for 30 minutes. I mean, there are times that I want to watch a very angry review.
Yeah, I think I've grown beyond that sort of angry over the top reviewing nowadays.
Oh fuck, I haven't.
But like with JonTron, I think I really like what he does. I mean, he kind of does all like what like the Angry Video Game Nerd does. He comes up with these very crazy ideas for how he pulls off storylines or just random sorts of joking, be it like with his editing or his writing or just his reactions to games. But it's kind of like I just like his humor more. It's like I kind of like I moved on and looked for other people, and that's how I came across JonTron. What's another person? Oh, I love the Spill.com. Have you ever listened to Spill.com back when they used to be on a lot, when their site used to be up?
No.
What I love about
I feel like crap because you're saying all these people. I'm like, I haven't seen anything of them.
What I absolutely loved about the Spill crew was how I think in the past you may have heard Bill and I make comparisons between what we do as the Sons of Sarazawa and what they do, in that they're a bunch of people who just are a bunch of regular schmoes like you and I who just happen to get paid reviewing movies, and they always review their movies as a group where they never make solo reviews. It's always them. Whenever they make their reviews, they're always it's always a conversation, you know, and kind of like what Brad does with his midnight reviews, except what they do on a more professional level. And what's even more impressive is how, because of Corey Coleman, the head person, his passion for animation, he would animate their reviews, kind of like, you know, make like caricatures of themselves through flash animation, and that you see the cartoon versions of themselves talking to each other, and their crazy antics that they would make up during their conversations, that parts get animated as well. And then, you know, Corey Coleman, he moved on to, after Spill.com was pretty much canceled by their supporters, Hollywood.com, Corey Coleman moved on to make DoubleToasted.com, which is a much smaller version of Spill.com, where he has less people involved, but still that same sort of format, only in live action, where again people just talk and joke about movies.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that was the thing where it's like you come for the reviews, but you stay for the personalities. You like these people. These people entertain you with their nonsense, kind of like similar how what we do on our podcasts.
Oh God, our podcasts are so terrible. They're just like what? The fact that we have anything of an audience is either really frightening or just really sad.
Yeah. I definitely got to bring up Geekvolution. I mean, I love Captain Logan's reviews and coming at it from a purely like analytical perspective. I know you hate him for whatever reason that I'll never understand.
I don't hate him. I just don't. Half of the reason is why he doesn't talk about stuff that I'm interested in, to be flat out honest, you know? It's just...
I don't see why I don't see why that deserves hate, but go ahead. I'm sure you can get to that.
I don't... Okay, alright. Here's what made me not like him.
Uh-huh.
He did this show called Who Reviews the Reviewers. Bill did it, and Bill introduced me to him. He did a show called Who Reviews the Reviewers.
Right.
And during Who Reviews the Reviewers, he came off to me as the most arrogant son of a bitch I've ever heard. Boy, was I wrong. But he came off as like, oh, I'm the best reviewer out there, and that's why I'm doing this show. And I'm like, no, you're not.
Well,
you're not. Shut the fuck up.
Well, man, he certainly doesn't come off with like that way on his show, like Geeks Not Nerds, the podcast, where he just really he really comes off as a person like, I'm just an average guy, just making videos on YouTube, and I don't know, he does have that quality that I like in people, where he comes across as someone who's just humble and it's just like someone who's just grateful for what maybe that's not the right way of saying it, but I don't see him as arrogant at all in most of the videos that I have watched. I mean, I pretty much kind of ignored Who Reviews for Reviewers outside of the episodes that Bill was on, but I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I just don't watch him.
Okay.
I know you and Bill do nothing but praise him, and I'm not saying that to be mean. But it's like I do feel kind of bad, because it's like I should really like him, judging by how highly you guys talk about him.
Yeah, like
but I always see the stuff that he talks about, and I'm like, I don't
always, because you
care about this stuff. Like I check him out every once in a while. I'm like, what if he reviews this?
What about have you followed his series Trexperts?
No. That's because
he talks about Star Trek. That's something you like. He's a big Star Trek fan.
Kind of. He's not as big as a Star Trek fan as...
He's not as big as me.
No, I will say that I'm not a very big Star Trek fan compared to people like Arshan Gaia. Oh my God.
Okay. Well, I guess to wrap up, I just want to say that Geekvolution, I highly respect him, and I love his reviews. I love how deep and analytical he gets with his... It's like his videos kind of seem like an essay, a multi-page essay just translated treated as like a script. And wow, that whole Spawn Year project, wow, that was highly...
Maybe that's another reason why I don't... Last time I knew, he kind of scripted his reviews, right?
Well, I feel like he does write. If he comes across as someone who just writes everything and then reads them off, if that's what you mean.
Okay, because I do, to be completely honest, have a harder time listening to reviews that are scripted. I do. I have a harder time with them, because to me it feels like I'm not being... I guess maybe it's just in terms of taste of videos, in terms of stuff like that, because again, I like
the kind of stuff that you and Bill do. They're more like, let's just get in front of the camera and talk and see what happens.
Let's just get in front of the camera. I mean, I'll take notes, and I'll just use those notes as a guideline to say, okay, now talk about this. But then, like, how I go off of tangents because of that, and the notes just bring me back. And
what about something like me and David do, where we do go scripted?
To be honest, and I'm not knocking you, because I actually really like your reviews, because they're very short and concise. Except for the Alex from Outer Space. How dare you not like that masterpiece of science fiction? No.
Masterpiece was a piece of shit.
That was
Like,
still
hey,
like
man.
the greatest. That was still like
Hey,
the greatest
hey,
thing
man,
ever.
We will get in our tusk suits and we will take it out.
This is gonna happen one day, you and I. You realize that, right?
Actually,
we
but
make
I
it,
don't- I
we
don't
make
want-
it like
I don't-
this huge event at like G-Fest, and we both come waddling in with these fucking walrus suits. At that point, we're never allowed back.
Well, anyways.
Well, we could just say we're magma.
Well, anyways, we have Geek Pollution. Yeah, I prefer to go scripted. I mean, I haven't done a scripted review in over a year, only because whenever I do a review, I do prefer scripted because I do like my thoughts to be short, concise, and to the point. And the thing is, whenever I talk and I speak, like off the top of my head, I tend to like pause and like I'm doing right now. I'm trying to recollect my thoughts. It takes me a little bit longer to process my thoughts in order to speak in a coherent manner. Instead, I'm kind of like Jeff Goldblum, where I'm stammering and I'm trying to think of what the next thing I'm supposed to say. Where unlike you, whereas you and Bill, you make it seem natural, where it's like you speak fluently without even like pausing for a moment, or it seems like you guys don't pause for a moment.
No, quite the contrary. But, you know, it is kind of funny how similar Bill and I are in terms of our videos. We just go different ways about doing them. Mm-hmm. You know, it's like we both just go, okay, here's what we want to talk about. Now we're just going to talk about it, but we both approach it differently. Mm-hmm. And I do find that cool. Like, one of my favorite reviews that Bill ever did is his review for Conga. Mm-hmm. And that's because he literally was like, I don't know how to react to this movie throughout the entire thing. And I was like, this is a really... And I actually, you know, wound up watching the review, not listening to it like I normally do, because I fully say that to people usually. You're not really necessarily supposed to watch my reviews. You're just supposed to listen to them. And...
yeah.
And I actually watched it just because he was like, oh no, like, Conga? Really? He just looked like he was having the hardest time just trying to talk about this piece of shit of a movie. Mm-hmm. And I always love that review of his. It always makes me laugh every time I check it out. Mm-hmm. But, you know, I just like feeling like it's a conversation that we're having, not so much of a...
Yeah.
Sometimes they might come off as lecturing, but like I try not to. Yeah. In my recent videos, I'm really trying not to sound lectury. Mm-hmm. I like being able to say, this guy thinks this. And he'll also, like, I want people to be able to, and this is why I started saying it in my videos lately, or recently, is I want people to feel like they can comment in my videos and say their opinion as well. Mm-hmm. They can put their 2 cents into it. And I actually really enjoy that now. I like being able to see what other people think, because sometimes when I read what other people think, sometimes I'm like, oh yeah, like it gives me another perspective on things. Mm-hmm. And ultimately, I think the more opinions you can get on something, the better off you wind up are when watching it again.
Yeah, yeah.
Checking it out again. Again, with Evangelion, when I was doing the retrospective, reading a lot of people's reviews after seeing that anime, and then reading the reviews and talking to people like you who have mixed feelings about the anime but love the movies and stuff like that, really actually helped me make these videos. And then make fun of the Too Deep for You.
Yeah. I guess that's another really big reason why we do watch reviewers in general, where it's like we kind of learn from these different opinions in order to help us gain a better understanding of the work that we are experiencing in a way.
And, you know, I can't help but also ask this, because one of my former friends, I posted one of my reviews, analysis things, and he commented on the video saying, Adam, no one gives a shit. No one cares about your opinion. Mm-hmm. And I was like, yeah, you're probably right. Nobody actually gives a shit about my opinion. Mm-hmm. And I watch other people's reviews, and I'm like, you know, do people really care this much? And then I'm like, yeah, we kind of do. We do care this much, you know? It's like, if we didn't care this much, we wouldn't be talking about it. And a part of me is like, it's like some people who review trucks. It's like people who watch sports, like football, and get really invested in a football team or something. For me, that's how I compare it. Like, I'll go to, one of my friends absolutely loves football. And she goes, why do you care about movies so much, Adam? And I said, movies for me is like you and the Dallas Cowboys for football. And then as soon as I say that, she gets it. You know, it's like...
Yeah. Like, I hate it when people, I've even experienced this within my own family, where it's like, it's just a movie. You don't have to think that hard about it.
It's just a movie, and I'm like, to me,
no,
it's not. To me, this is art. This is an art form.
There is so much more to this specific piece of entertainment. There are millions of people every day working on producing these sorts of projects, and you know, sometimes there's a lot that goes into this thing, and there's a lot that can go right, and there's so much that can go wrong.
Exactly, and you know, at the same time, I don't knock those people for thinking that. Like my friend who said,
right, because it's not
nobody really gives a shit, because you know what? It's like they don't give a shit. Like I don't give a shit about football.
Yeah.
You know, and because I don't give a shit about football doesn't mean you shouldn't give a shit about football. If you love football, you fucking love football. If you hate movies, then you fucking hate movies. You know, I can't really. It's just your opinion on it. It's not the end of the world. It's even though sometimes we may act like it's the end of the world, but
oh dear God, yeah. Imagine, you know, when like the Star Wars like trilogy, like the prequel trilogy came out, people were like, it's the worst thing ever. My childhood has been raped.
And then I'm like, no, my childhood hasn't been raped, but it's been thoroughly destroyed. No.
The Transformer movies are awful. They're raping my childhood.
Remember, Andres, in the end, Michael Bay has your penis.
Oh, dear God. No, don't start that BS again. Let's see. So I guess in order, before we wrap this up, Lon, do you have any other reviewers or people that you would like to recommend?
No,
just
really
people that you like to follow.
People that I like to follow, again, the main reviewer, and he's not even really a reviewer.
Like, quote-unquote.
Quote-unquote reviewer is Arshan Gaia. Arshan Gaia, to me, is like, all intents and purposes, my god, in terms of YouTubing. Or he's become my god. He's kind of evolved into being that kind of figure. He doesn't really review, but I really respect a YouTuber called Markiplier.
Oh, yeah, the Let's Player.
He's basically a smarter version of PewDiePie. A much smarter version than PewDiePie.
Because when he plays a version of a Game Grumps.
Yeah, pretty much. And what I like about him is that when he plays, one, he's entertaining to listen to.
Yeah. They want my giblets, but he cannot have them.
Just because he's got a great voice too. That also helps. Yeah. It's like he's got a really
Markiplier.
Great voice. And the other reason why I like it is because whenever he plays a scary game, he praises the fact that he's scared. You know, he's not just like, oh, I'm just going to scream. He's like, no, I'm praising the fact that these people are able to scare me. This is a great game, and he goes into why it's a great game while he's playing it. Oh, another reviewer that I've recently discovered that I also really like overall, and that's Angry Joe.
With him, he's much more, I don't know, I like his energy, but I don't know, I guess, I don't know, like, with him, I enjoy his stuff. Yeah, and I guess a lot of the time he's just, like, mugging in front of the camera, but I do like the points that he makes whenever he's more serious, and like, you know, here's when we come right down to it, here's what I think about the game.
Yeah, I like how his videos have an opening skit. I do like these kind of opening skit thingies to set you up, but I mean, sometimes they get a little old. But you know what? I really do like hearing his opinion because he doesn't care if it's a super successful game. Look at his review for Titanfall.
Yeah.
Not Titanfall. I'm sorry. He loves Titanfall, and quite frankly, so did I, because it was supposed
giant robots!
Here's the thing with Titanfall. Titanfall was supposed to be a stupid game from the beginning, and they fully treated it like it was a stupid game, and that's why I liked it. It's not like Modern Warfare, or it's not like Call of Duty, where they try to say it's a smart game when really it's not.
Yeah.
But he did a review for that new... this is that game that just came out that was huge. The people of Halo just made it.
Destiny.
Destiny. He doesn't care how much money the thing makes. He doesn't care about other people's... He doesn't let other people's opinions get in his way. You know, he respects them. Because I like it when he goes into videos and he says, I understand why people don't like this, but I do like it. And his review for Destiny is my favorite example of this, because he hates the game and I hate the game too. That might have something to do with it, but you know, he's very honest, and I admire that. I admire honesty, I guess, in videos.
Okay.
You don't say I like this movie just because everybody else says they like this movie. If you don't like it and everybody else does, you say I don't like it, and here's why. Look at Brad Jones and Man of Steel.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he flat out said in that midnight review. He's like, he thought this movie was terrible, and then he still says it's terrible. But everybody gave him shit for it, but he didn't care.
That was the same thing with the Dark. That was the same thing with the Dark Knight Rises. He said he
him and the Dark Knight. Me and him and the Dark Knight Rises. I strongly disagree with him on his opinion of the Dark Knight Rises. I love that movie.
Yeah. But like he comes off like you look at his review for the Dark Knight Rises. You look at Doug's review for the Dark Knight Rises.
He just has beef for Chris Nolan. It's like that's the cool thing now, is to hate Christopher Nolan. And I'm like, why?
Oh my God, mountain fetish! Oh, what? You're desperately trying to come up with a joke at this point.
Pretty much.
Well, let's see. A couple of people. I'm just gonna try to list them off here. Just look at them. Let's see. Mysterious Mr. Enter, who does a lot of reviews of animated TV shows. Let's see. Oh, Some Call Me Johnny. I love that guy's reviews. Very analytical with a few really funny bits here and there. Let's see. I like his retrospectives on certain video games franchises like Crash Bandicoot, Sonic, or Mario. Red Letter Media. I love their Star Wars review, and I love their review of Half in the Bag and their Best of the Worst / Wheel of the Worst series. Rebel Taxi. I love this. Easily one of my favorite channels. I love this guy's outlook on animation, and I love his again, he's very focused on like animated movies and TV shows. Let's see, Spazmaster from RB Rebel Band Geek Productions, been following him for a while. Let's see here, anyone here, just looking up down my list of subscribers actually. Let's see, MJ Knight, I like his reviews. He's very straight and to the point when it comes to giving his opinions. Let's see, anyone else? Let's see, Zazbar. Heck no.
Fuck that guy.
Yeah, fuck that guy.
He doesn't even do reviews anymore. He just does podcasts.
Yeah, I hate those guys as well. They're a bunch of assholes.
Fucking ass.
Helsing 920, he has a series called Reaction and Review. Definitely really like that series. He is very aggressive when he comes across a movie that he does not like, but overall I do like his opinions. I do like, again, the reaction part where he's just watching a movie and it's like, what the fuck is this bullshit? But yeah, a really entertaining guy. And Decker Shadow, I like him. I also like a lot of his tokusatsu related reviews. Dark Lord Jado, he's kind of like an up-and-comer, even though he's kind of been doing this review for like YouTube, like video game reviews for 2 years. Let's see, anyone else? Oh yeah, Atomic Stick Figure Productions. I love Jacob Baker's stuff. He's recently been doing. I like how much more he's kind of with his reviews. I like how very personal he is with them. The movies that he reviews tend to have like a much more personal connection with him. Let's see, Adam Noyes. No, that guy's an asshole.
Fuck that guy. Don't even
fuck that guy.
Watch that guy. Like, what the fuck?
So yeah, that's basically a rundown of my favorite reviewers on YouTube so far, not counting the ones I've previously mentioned. So yeah, let's. Oh, you know what? But there was this one thing that always bothered me about some reviewers, like, especially from that guy with the glasses camp. Why is it that whenever they're reviewing something, their character personas always act like they're watching it for the first time, when they clearly make statements that contradict otherwise.
Oh no, I do like Obscurus Lupa. I do like her. I found out about her through Tremors.
Uh-huh.
She reviewed all the Tremors movies, and I was like, oh my god, like clearly she's fangirling the entire time, and it was funny. And so I
like from a writing. Oh, go ahead.
No, I was done.
Okay, I was just gonna say, from a writing perspective, I like her reviews. From a writing perspective, I like the points that she makes when she goes over them. I'm not a fan of her acting.
Oh, she's a terrible actress.
Yeah, like she tries to go so over the top that it's supposed to be funny because it's unrealistically over the top. But I just can't stand listening to that. I'm sorry. But yeah, it's interesting how like reviewers tend to do this thing where they pretend they're watching a movie or whatever for the first time, and then they would go on to make statements like, I hope you enjoy this character because you're never going to see this character for the rest of the movie, or, oh, get used to this catchphrase because you're going to hear it quite a lot throughout the movie. And of course, they always have to have that moment where there's something weird happening on camera and they have that, what? Reaction.
Yeah.
Which really annoys me because it kind of like takes me out of the review. It's like, you're supposed to be... the whole point of a review is that you are reviewing it, meaning you are viewing it for a second time. Why are you acting like you're watching it for the first time if it's called a review? You know what I mean? I don't know. It's just a pet peeve of mine whenever I see something like that happen. But yeah. Anyways, with any final thoughts on reviewers in general?
They review shit.
And we watch them for some reason.
Yeah, I don't get it.
So
why are you guys giving us jobs?
So I believe we have this is a good point to end yet another exciting episode of Shuwatch Super Dynamic Ultra Force Go. Thank you for enjoying us, and for those who enjoy our reviews, thank you very much. I'm very grateful there are people out there who actually are interested in what we have to say, and hopefully we'll continue to entertain you as time goes by. But anyways, I have been your host, Andres Perez, aka KaijuNoir.
I'm Adam Noyes from Adam Noyes, and can I pimp something out quickly?
Sure thing.
Go on Facebook and like the page for my new movie. It's called Which Way They Walk. Do go on Facebook and like it. Need all the support we can get for this rather ambitious film, to be completely honest. So please go on Facebook and like that. Check out my short film that I just recently released called The Watermark, and I see why people are calling it interesting. Fucking short. Okay. But yeah, do watch it. Check it out.
Okay, and I do also want to like to advertise a friend of mine, kind of like a friend of a friend, started a business opening up a self-defense martial arts sort of studio called Art of Survival Krav Maga Self-Defense, where my friend David is giving lessons on like self-defense using this form of martial arts called Krav Maga. If you happen to be if you live in the San Diego area, I do highly recommend this place. It really not only is it great for learning self-defense techniques, it's also a really great workout. And the person who is the instructor who runs the place, he and his wife, they're very helpful at, even if like you're coming in for like, if you're a regular or if you come in as for your first time, he always treats everyone like on an equal level, able to teach everybody at a moderate pace. And overall, I highly recommend this place. It's located at 5280 Baltimore Drive, La Mesa, California. Let's see. And so yeah, if you happen to be in San Diego, live in San Diego, I highly recommend that place. Lessons are $20 a night, and they have lessons primarily on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Sundays. So yeah, with that said, as we said, I am Andres Perez. He is Adam Noyes, and that was James Biggie. Also, yeah, if you love giant robots and giant monsters and comic books, definitely go onto Amazon.com and purchase Volume 1 of Robot God Akamatsu. You heard it here, folks. Volume 2 will be coming out very shortly, hopefully by July. So until next time, everybody, take care.